starting by showing Tobirama Senju a summary of Naruto. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51 Fourth Period Official Inventory. Orochimaru's return to Konoha has caused a stir in the entire ninja world. Especially the people of Sand Village are very dissatisfied with this matter. Of course, it's not their fault, because their Hokage was killed by Orochimaru. It is precisely because their Hokage is dead that they can only yell a few words to show their dissatisfaction. As for specific actions, there is no such thing, and they dare not have it. Today's Sand Village has reached its weakest moment. The village is eager for a young talent to stand up and let everyone out of the weak moment. Unfortunately, there is no such person in Sand Village. Now there's still the head of the family, the old generation of Kyo, and the younger generation has only one maker who can barely look good, and the rest are all crooked melons and cracked dates. The younger generation can't look good, and Kyo can only pin their hopes on Gaara and his generation. Not to mention, since Gaara came back from Konoha village, he has become a different person. Although he still exudes some cold air from time to time, which makes people feel scared, but compared with his previous appearance, it is simply a world of difference. Kyo was very pleased with Gaara's change in attitude. In addition, Temari and Kankuro were also very talented, which made her feel that there was still hope for the Sand Village. Anyway, she was full of expectations for the three siblings. She hoped that they could grow up smoothly and grow to the point where they could protect the village. Therefore, for some of Konoha's operations, they could only swallow their anger and dare not take any specific actions. They also hoped that Konoha could continue to protect the Sand Village during this period. The three ninja villages of Rock Village, Cloud Village, and Mist Village, who were watching the excitement and not afraid of trouble, saw that the main ninja had no objection, so they were too lazy to care so much. As for the Akatsuki organization that Orochimaru had joined before, they gave up the pursuit after knowing that this guy had returned to Konoha. Their main purpose was to capture the tailed beast. At this stage, they were not fully prepared and should not be too high profile. Moreover, they did not care much about the pursuit of Orochimaru. Otherwise, with the investigation of Black and White Zetsu and the absolute force of pain, even if Orochimaru could run, he would definitely not be able to escape. At this point, the big news of Orochimaru's return to Konoha village, the ninja world, has come to an end. It's time for the light curtain to release the official inventory video. Many people came to the Hokage's office in time and space. On the side of Senju Tobirama, he and his 6 disciples, as well as the young version of the 3 ninjas. Well, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Uchiha Madara have asked for leave from the daimyo and have to rush back to the capital of the Land of Fire tomorrow after watching the inventory video. On the side of the Third Hokage, in addition to the 5th Jiraiya and Orochimaru, Shimura Danzo also showed up in the Hokage's office. Hiruzen, it's so late, why don't you stay at home and gather here? Out of friendship with each other, the Third Hokage couldn't say anything, but the 5th Jiraiya wouldn't indulge him. Elder Danzo, please pay attention to your identity. Do we need to report to you when we gather together? Humph. Danzo snorted coldly and ignored Jiraiya. He looked straight at the Third Hokage, trying to get an answer from him. Hiruzen, don't try to fool me. I knew you had gathered here half a month ago, and then Orochimaru returned to Konoha. You must be hiding something from me by coming here again this time. How could Orochimaru's appearance in Konoha village be hidden from Danzo, a LYB? He had already sent people to secretly follow and monitor Orochimaru until half a month ago, when they gathered here. This time, he heard his subordinates report that the 3 of them gathered in the Hokage's office again, so he came to ask about something. Well, seeing that the Third Hokage was in a dilemma, the 5th Jiraiya spoke up, Elder Danzo, you have exceeded your authority. Please leave now. The 5th Jiraiya didn't want Danzo to know the existence of the light curtain. Seeing that the time was getting closer to 8 o'clock, he simply asked the other party to leave. Unexpectedly, Danzo didn't take the 5th Jiraiya's words to heart at all. He squinted at the other party and replied contemptuously, I am talking to your teacher. You, a junior, have no right to interrupt. This made Jiraiya the 5th Hokage angry, and he immediately said in a stern voice, I am the 5th Hokage of Konoha village. How dare you say that I have no right? I think Elder Danzo, you are getting old and confused. Let's put it this way. Considering that Elder Danzo is old, I will allow you to retire from the route. From now on, you are no longer the leader of the route. Jiraiya, you, Danzo was also very angry. He didn't expect that Jiraiya would dare to resign from his position as the leader of the route. At the same time, he also understood that this must not be done, otherwise his position might really be lost. Thinking of this, Danzo decided to take a step back for now and wait until later to discuss with Hiruzen and let Jiraiya not resign his position. Anyway, there are only a few people present, and with the Third Hokage mediating, Jiraiya will surely not refuse his teacher's face. Well, let's do it. I think I can continue to work for a few more years, so I won't bother you, Fifth Hokage. After saying that, Danzo wanted to turn around and leave. Seeing that Danzo had given in and wanted to leave, the Third Hokage and Fifth Jiraiya breathed a sigh of relief. But Orochimaru curled his lips. He thought Danzo would stick to it. In this way, he could become the new leader of the route. In the end, just like that. Danzo, the Third Hokage originally wanted to see Danzo off and let him not argue with Jiraiya. After all, they were colleagues for many years, and he didn't want Danzo and Jiraiya to have a quarrel. But as soon as he said that, it was exactly 8 o'clock in the evening. The light curtain appeared on the desk in the Hokage's office on time. What is this? Seeing the light curtain emitting a soft glow on the desk, Danzo said he would not leave no matter what. The Third Hokage and Fifth Jiraiya naturally knew this. They didn't ask Danzo to leave, but asked him to find a chair to sit down and watch. So this is why you have to get together every half a month. Although he didn't know what the light curtain that suddenly appeared was, he judged from the facial expressions of the other 3 people at the scene that this thing must be extraordinary. In his heart, he had to give a thumbs up to his behavior. If he hadn't come to the door to interrogate today, how could he have seen this magical scene? Danzo, I know you have a lot of questions, and I will explain them to you one by one afterwards. Hehe, I hope so. Danzo replied to the Third Hokage, then took a chair and sat down, quietly looking at the light curtain. Hi, dear audience, hello, I'm the new Lin Tian. As usual, today's video was originally intended to talk about the 4th Hokage Minato name case. But a reader said that he wanted to see the inventory of Konoha Pop King Shimura Danzo. So in this video, let's take a look at Danzo's things. Shimura Danzo widened his eyes. He didn't understand what was going on at all. Hiruzen, what's going on? From what you said, it seems like you want to talk about me. The Third Hokage nodded and replied softly, what is said on the screen is basically true. If they talk about your dark history later, you must stay calm. Chapter 52 Mirror. Danzo, your so, dark history. Calm down. Danzo secretly clenched his fists. If the light curtain really exposed some of his things as the Third Hokage said, then he couldn't solve it by being calm. He did a lot of things without telling the Third Hokage. Of course, in his opinion, he did all these things for Konoha. But, it might not be the case in the eyes of others. Thinking of this, he glanced at the Third Hokage and said to himself, I hope you can understand me, old friend. Shimura Danzo is the chief commander of the root organization of Konoha village in the Land of Fire. He is the one who carries a heavy iron pot and fights day and night at the forefront of helping others. He is a person who decided to dedicate his whole life to the village after graduating from the ninja school. He founded the root organization, aiming to leave footprints in the noisy ninja world and help everyone in need. For this, the villagers affectionately called him Pot. But he always said that it was not just his efforts. His comrade from the same village, Uchiha, often helped him out of danger. Many years later, Jin has sacrificed himself and been forgotten, only Danzo remembers his benefactor in his heart. Hiruzen, this doesn't seem to expose my dark history as you said. Danzo was confused. This doesn't seem to be the rhythm of blackening himself. If this is what the Third Hokage meant by exposing his dark history, then Danzo thinks that he can increase the intensity a little bit. The Third Hokage was also a little embarrassed. When he was reviewing him, Guanyu is not like this. Why is it that when it comes to Danzo, he is full of praise? Well, there must be something wrong. Not only did the Third Hokage think that Guanyu had a problem, but even the people in the Tobirama office thought that Guanyu had drunk fake wine. Why are you praising Danzo all the time? I think you are just jealous and can't stand seeing me doing well. The young version of Danzo was very happy. After watching the Third Hokage's review, through some clues, he felt that he would be more excessive than the Third Hokage 40 years later. In order to figure out these things, when he was in Konoha 40 years later, he did not stop the enemy, but went to find the old version of himself at the time. Unfortunately, in just 1 hour, he did not find his old self, and his efforts were in vain. When he was looking at the light curtain today, he was particularly nervous. He was afraid that he would do something extraordinary in the future and be reprimanded by teacher Tobirama. Now, the light curtain has been praising him, and he is almost embarrassed by the praise. Praise? I don't think so, it may also be irony. Seeing Danzo's arrogance, Hiruzen was unhappy. Why are you pretending? You don't know what you are, don't we know it? Don't you see that you were carrying a black pot on your back in the picture? Can this be a good thing? Hiruzen, just admit it, you were just jealous of me. Ha, wait and see. Hiruzen was too lazy to refute him. He didn't believe that Lin Tian would sincerely praise Danzo, and believed that there would be a big reversal later. He was right to believe that there would be a big reversal later, and it came very quickly. When Lin Tian said that Uchiha Kagami had been forgotten and only Danzo was grateful to him, the screen suddenly revealed Danzo's right arm wrapped in bandages, which was covered with Sharingan, and they were all three Magatama Sharingan. He used a handful of Sharingan to remember this deceased comrade. Danzo, you are fucking. Uchiha Kagami was very angry. He stared at Danzo and wanted to kill this guy. Seeing himself on the screen with a handful of Sharingan, Danzo also panicked. He hurriedly exclaimed, Kagami, you have to calm down, it's not me on it. Yes, Kagami, you must calm down. Senju Tobirama was also surprised. He didn't expect Danzo to be so crazy. But just as Danzo said, it was not him on the light screen, but the sin he committed 40 years later. Tobirama could forgive the things that the Third Hokage did in the last period, and the same was true for Danzo. He thought very clearly that with the intervention of the light screen, Hiruzen and Danzo would definitely not repeat the same mistakes. It is somewhat unreasonable to use the original trajectory to convict people now. Kagami, Danzo will definitely not be like this again. That's right, with the light curtain, the teacher, and our existence, Danzo will definitely not become the person in the picture. Everyone was persuading Uchiha Kagami. Kagami's appearance was really too scary. Not only was his main Kime Sharingan activated, but his aura was like that of a beast, as if he could tear people apart if they were not careful. Teacher, everyone, don't worry, I understand all this. Kagami took a few deep breaths and closed his main Kime Sharingan. He understood everyone's persuasion. He also knew that Danzo in 40 years would not be the same person as Danzo now. But he just couldn't help it. He was originally very upset about the destruction of his family, and he also thought that it was done by the Third Hokage. At this time, he looked at the light curtain and found that the culprit was Danzo. Just looking at the Sharingan on his arm was clear. If he was not the culprit, then where did he get so many Sharingans? Don't worry, Danzo. I will seek revenge on the person 40 years later. It has nothing to do with you. Thank you, Kagami. Hearing Kagami's reply, Danzo was relieved, but he was also quite dissatisfied with himself 40 years later, and even looked down on him. The power of the Sharingan is indeed very strong, but can he become a Hokage with such a half-human and half-ghost appearance? I'm afraid it's even more difficult. Who would let a monster with a handful of Sharingan be a Hokage? The ninjas of Konoha village don't want face, right? I don't know what's going on with the old monkey, but I guess he must look very unhappy at this moment. The young Danzo was right. The Third Hokage's face was indeed not good at this time. He looked blue, white, and black. He could open a dyeing factory. In addition to him, the fifth Jiraiya and the old Danzo himself also looked unhappy. Orochimaru seemed very normal. After all, Danzo's right hand was successful with his help. But he didn't expect that Danzo wanted a right hand containing Hashirama cells in order to embed the Sharingan. I have to say, this guy is really brave. Elder Danzo, do you want to explain? As he said that, the fifth generation Jiraiya signaled to Orochimaru with his eyes, and the latter immediately understood and pulled a chair and sat at the door of the office. The purpose is self-evident, that is, he didn't want this guy to run away. Danzo seemed very calm on the surface, but he was actually panicking inside. He ignored the fifth generation Jiraiya's question, looked at the third generation Hokage and said, Hiruzen, do you believe me? The third generation Hokage smacked his lips and replied in a deep voice, even if you say so, I. Just say whether you believe me or not, and that's it. Danzo interrupted the third generation Hokage and forced his old friend to stand on the side in a stern tone. The third generation Hokage was helpless. On one side was an old friend with many years of friendship, and on the other side was his student. He was in a dilemma. In the end, he said softly, Jiraiya, let's finish watching the video first and then deal with Danzo's matter. The fifth generation Jiraiya nodded. While giving his teacher a favor, he also wanted to know what else this disgusting guy Danzo would do. After watching the light curtain, we will settle the old and new accounts together. Chapter 53 Jiraiya. QNMD Danzo. The screen gave a close-up of Danzo's right hand, and Lin Tian's voice continued to speak. He used his hands full of Sharingan to commemorate the deceased comrade. The red pupils on his hands were particularly dazzling. In the late period of the Third Ninja War, the rising orphan organization in the Rain Country, Akatsuki, attracted Danzo's attention. The leader of the organization, Yahiko, was troubled by the lack of partners. It's Yahiko. Jiraiya, the fifth generation, sighed. After the end of the Third War, he accepted 3 disciples in the Rain Country, namely Yahiko, Nagato, and Konan. In order to teach the 3 people, he stayed in the Rain Country for 3 years, which can be said to have paid a lot of effort. As disciples of his code sage Jiraiya, the 3 of them should have had a very bright future. But things did not go as planned. In these years, when he was looking for the child of destiny in the ninja world, he also learned about these 3 disciples. Knowing that they had all died in the Rain Country many years ago, the past was too painful to recall. Seeing Yahiko again, the 5th Jiraiya was left with only melancholy. Wait. Looking at the screen, he suddenly thought that today's video was reviewing the life of Shinyori Danzo, so why did Yahiko appear on it? Could it be that Yahiko's death was caused by Danzo? Thinking of this, Jiraiya quietly moved a little behind him to ensure that Danzo had no escape route. At this time, Danzo extended an international helping hand. It led to decades of close cooperation between the Hidden Rain Village and Akatsuki. Danzo. I didn't think so much at the time. It's a good thing for young people to rise. I admire Yahiko's desire to seek peace for the ninja world, so I contacted Hanzo, the leader of the Hidden Rain Village, and facilitated the cooperation between the 2 groups. In the end, with the help of Hanzo, Yahiko got the opportunity to work less for 100 years and only need to work hard again in 18 years. Hanzo and I are also very pleased about this. QNMD Danzo. Seeing this, the 5th Jiraiya couldn't understand that Yahiko was killed by Danzo and Hanzo together. Thinking that Yahiko, who was so sunny and cheerful and had great enthusiasm for the world, died under the conspiracy of these 2 old guys, Jiraiya the 5th could not help it, and gave a warm greeting to Danzo's face with his powerful fist. What, we agreed to settle the score after watching the video? No. He, Jiraiya the 5th Hokage, was going to beat Danzo to death now. Danzo did not expect Jiraiya the 5th to be so irritable. He was still thinking about the past when he tricked Hanzo into fighting against the Akatsuki organization, and did not react to Jiraiya's attack at all. This fist hit him hard. Jiraiya, are you crazy? Covering his right face that had begun to swell, Danzo looked at Jiraiya the 5th with an angry expression. He has lived for so many years, and even his father has never hit him like this. How dare Jiraiya, a junior, hit him in the face, and he is so powerful. Jiraiya, calm down. It's important to look at the light curtain to get the information. We'll talk about Danzo after we finish looking at it. After punching Danzo hard, the 5th Jiraiya's anger was slightly reduced. In addition, the 3rd Hokage was trying to mediate, so he could only let Danzo go first. Hiratsun, this is the good disciple you taught. The 3rd Hokage snorted coldly and said nothing. At this time, he was becoming more and more disgusted with Danzo. Jiraiya told him about the matter of Yahiko and the other 2 after returning to the village. If things had developed normally, without Danzo's intervention, Jiraiya's 3 disciples would have a great chance of becoming the top leaders of the Hidden Rain Village. At the time, relying on Jiraiya's relationship, even if the Hidden Rain Village did not form an alliance with Konoha, its attitude towards Konoha would definitely be better than other ninja villages. Logically speaking, this kind of ninja village that naturally has a good intention towards Konoha should do its best to protect it. As a result, the old man Danzo not only did not protect it, but also killed these 3 people. It's really not enough to do anything, but more of a hindrance. Still want to be Hokage? I think you are dreaming. The 3rd Hokage has already made up his mind. When the light curtain ends, he will capture him together with Jiraiya and Orochimaru. And his end will be to spend the rest of his life in prison. That's right, the soft-hearted 3rd Hokage didn't want to kill Danzo even though he was very upset with him now. After all, they have been partners for many years, so just let him die of old age in prison. This is the last mercy of the 3rd Hokage. A conflict broke out on the side of the 5th Jiraiya, and he punched Danzo. It was quite calm here in Tobirama Senju. The main reason was that they didn't know the relationship between Yahiko and Jiraiya, and after seeing Danzo's hands full of Sharingan, they no longer had any expectations for what would happen next. Anyway, in their opinion, Danzo has completely changed after 40 years, and it's not surprising that he can do any bad things. Outside, Danzo enthusiastically extends a helping hand to the orphans. Inside, Danzo also cares about the growth of Konoha orphans. He sought welfare for the orphan Kabata Yakushi, who was highly myopic and had difficulty making a living in the village, and brought him home to train. Kabata Yakushi did not disappoint Danzo, and went abroad to study with excellent grades. Now he has become the secretary of the leader of the Sound Village, greatly promoting the friendly relations between the two major ninja villages of Konoha and Sound Village. Kabata Yakushi. I have also suffered from hardships. Now I have the ability, and naturally want to help the poor children like me. After going abroad, I often feel uncomfortable with the climate, but when I recall the kind face of Danzo, I will feel much better. Now I have inherited the will of that adult and founded the Impure World Reincarnation Alliance to seek welfare for all the people in the ninja world and fulfill everyone's dreams. Hehe, I really should ask Kabata to come and see. At the door, Orochimaru looked at Kabata Yakushi, who was being interviewed on the screen, and laughed inexplicably. Orochimaru, what are you laughing at? The Third Hokage was very curious about why Orochimaru laughed, and also to lighten up the stiff atmosphere in the office. Nothing, I just think that Elder Danzo is really a good man, otherwise I wouldn't have the chance to accept a good subordinate like Kabata Yakushi. Orochimaru is indeed very satisfied with Kabata Yakushi. His own strength is secondary, what he values most is Kabata Yakushi's mind. In the entire Sound Village, only Kabata Yakushi can keep up with his thinking. The light screen said that Kabata Yakushi inherited the will of that adult, and Orochimaru is very sure that this so-called adult should be himself. As for the Impure World Reincarnation Alliance, this is very clear. Kabata Yakushi will definitely make trouble after his death, and it will be a big thing. Just a few people from the Impure World Reincarnation cannot be considered an alliance. Only when a large number of people from the Impure World Reincarnation come out can it be considered an alliance. So why does Kabata Yakushi want a large number of people from the Impure World Reincarnation come out? Orochimaru finds it very interesting just thinking about it. Danzo did not respond to Orochimaru's ridicule, but had a gloomy face, and it was unknown what he was thinking. Chapter 54. Everyone wants to kill Danzo. The ninja world is like a small boat on the sea, and the helpful Danzo is like an indispensable pot in life, moving wherever it is needed. Danzo works at a high speed in an extraordinary way, checking for leaks and filling gaps for the Konoha high level, and working hard. Danzo. The Uchiha incident is indeed too stressful. Alas, I found that my body is indeed not as good as before. I get hungry when it's time for meals, I want to drink water when I'm thirsty, and my eyelids fight at midnight. This year, Danzo was diagnosed with scapegoating syndrome. This rare disease cannot be cured. The patient's body parts will gradually stiffen, turn into a vegetable, and even lose their lives. At this time, Danzo on the light screen just turned into a big tree, which made the young people watching in Tobirama's office gasp. Teacher, are the cells of the first generation really that dangerous? Tobirama nodded and replied, yes, the cells of the eldest brother are very dangerous. If you are not careful, you'll turn into a big tree like Danzo in the picture. At this point, Tobirama hit some guesses in his heart. There is no doubt that the right hand of Danzo was implanted with Hashirame's cells. The reason why he did not turn into a big tree, but was still alive and kicking, was probably because of the Sharingan on that hand. So, can the Sharingan suppress Hashirame's cells? Tobirama thought that he could study it carefully when he had time. He could go to Danzo 40 years later to get information. After thinking about it, he still shook his head. In his opinion, Danzo 40 years later was bound to die. No matter how high-sounding his reasons were, just from his research on Hashirame's cells, his efforts to destroy the Uchiha clan, and his killing of orphans in the village, it can be seen that this man has committed heinous crimes and is hopeless. If the Third Hokage can't kill him because of their old relationship, he doesn't mind doing it for him. This guy really disgusted him so much that killing him would not be enough to appease the public anger. Danzo couldn't bear to delay the operation of the village, so he leaned on a cane and went back and forth between home and work. Until the news that Jing's descendant Shisui was seriously ill reached Danzo's ears. Seeing Shisui, who was called his descendant on the light screen, Jing's expression became a little calmer. Shisui, who suffers from eye disease, will lose his eyesight at a young age. In order for the young people to have a bright future and to repay the kindness of his comrades, Danzo took out his savings for treating his scapegoat syndrome and said in the most gentle way that you are my eyes. Danzo, you really deserve to die. Jin, whose expression had just calmed down a little, became angry again after seeing Shisui on the light screen, and his eyes were taken away by Danzo. The young Danzo shrank his neck, indicating that it was none of his business, and tried his best to reduce his presence. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Utate Kahara, Tsunade and others were also very angry. Not to mention that Shisui was the descendant of his comrade. Even if he was an ordinary Konoha villager, he should not choose to harm the other party for power. Sarutobi Hiruzen and several other friends looked at each other and nodded to each other. At this moment, they made a decision together. Danzo must die 40 years later. Konoha village does not allow such evil people to exist. Look, old man, this is your good companion. In response to Jiraiya's questioning, the third Hokage took a puff of cigarette and whispered softly, I was wondering why Shisui died suddenly. It turned out that it was you, Danzo, who did it. Originally, the third Hokage did not want to destroy the Uchiha clan. Although their clan's brains are not good, their strength is still very strong and can serve as the village's thugs very well. Originally, everything was going according to his plan. Shisui, who has the Mangekyou Sharingan, will definitely be able to gain enough say in the family if he is given more time. At the time, the village only needs to eliminate those radical elements. Who would have thought that Shisui would suddenly die, disrupting his plan? In the end, the Uchiha could only go to the dead end. It's a pity for Shisui's eyes, which are a pair of eyes that can change people's will, right? By the way, such a powerful pair of eyes, Danzo would never destroy it. He would definitely transplant the eyes to himself. The third Hokage subconsciously glanced at Danzo's right eye, which was wrapped in a bandage. Only one eye was transplanted. Thinking of this, he hurried to Jiraiya and whispered to him, Jiraiya, I suspect that Shisui's Mangekyou Sharingan is there and has been transplanted to Danzo. Don't talk, just listen to me. The fifth Jiraiya nodded and said nothing. The third Hokage continued, Shisui's eyes have a very powerful ability, called Kowtow Matsukamai, which can directly invade the opponent's brain without being discovered by the opponent and modify the opponent's will. Modify the will. Hearing this, the fifth Jiraiya frowned. If this is true, it will be a bit tricky. If my attitude changes without any signs in a while, it is most likely that I am controlled by Danzo. You must be careful. I understand, maybe he will choose to control me, or Orochimaru. No matter who it is, you must be vigilant. To be honest, Danzo really wanted to use Kowtow Matsukamai. It's just that the third Hokage's reaction speed was too fast. Before he used it, he had already told Jiraiya about it. At this time, no matter who he modified the will of the three people, the other party would find out. Once found out, the power would naturally be reduced. In order to ensure that everything is foolproof, Danzo decided to continue to lurk and wait for the right time to use Kowtow Matsukamai. On the light screen, Shisui, with his eyes closed and bleeding, was accepting an interview. Shisui. That day, my eye disease suddenly flared up and I started bleeding inexplicably. Fortunately, Danzo was nearby at the time and called the most authoritative doctor to treat me on the spot, helping me to solve this problem permanently. Without him, I would not know what to do. I am very grateful to him and thank Danzo from the bottom of my heart. Danzo was very humble about Shisui's thanks. Danzo. In fact, Konoha has many high-level people like me. They will not retreat when they are in trouble and are willing to lend a hand. That day, the office chair of the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen seemed to have a problem. Considering the potential safety hazard, Danzo sent his men to hold back Hiruzen, who was out on the job. Although he said he was holding back, the screen actually showed Hiruzen being assassinated. Old man, you are really too soft-hearted. That guy has sent someone to assassinate you, but you didn't even kill him. The third Hokage smiled bitterly upon hearing this, and thought to himself, I'm indeed too soft-hearted. If I had taken advantage of the situation and completely removed Danzo from his position, there would probably not have been so many problems later. Chapter 55. Danzo becomes Hokage. Danzo took advantage of this time to help Hiruzen get a new office chair. As both of them are high-ranking members of Konoha, and they have been friends for decades, Hiruzen always gets an unexpected surprise from Danzo. The third Hokage. He manages dozens of people and travels around the ninja world every day to handle affairs. It is very thoughtful of him to think of me. The third Hokage covered his face and felt a little embarrassed to see people. For a period of time, he really had this mentality. It is similar to a superior who sees the inferior jumping up and down there, trying to seize his position. What is the result? All these actions were within his expectations. These actions can only add some fun to his ordinary days. There is no other use. It's just that now that he knows that Danzo has done so many things behind his back, the third Hokage is also a man who wants to save face. He is so embarrassed that he almost digs out a 3-bedroom and 1 living room with his feet. On the light screen, the video continues. In the battle against the No.1 terrorist organization in the ninja world, Danzo silently built a solid air barrier for the villagers in the rear. Let every villager breathe fresh air. Konoha villagers. Thank you so much. At the time, the non-mainstream person who wore earrings was unhygienic. He came to the village to poison. He flew up to the sky and farted so loudly that the house collapsed. If it weren't for Danzo inhaling it and then using wind escape to purify the air, the whole village would be so sick that they couldn't eat at night. Look at Tsunade, who was too close to the fart source. She fainted because she couldn't eat. The villagers who were interviewed said something very funny. But the people watching couldn't laugh at all. Because they saw from the live screen that a mysterious man appeared in the sky above Konoha, and then used some ninjutsu to expand outward with him as the center, and Konoha village was raised to the ground by him. No, it's not flat ground, it would be more accurate to say it's a big pit. Who is this man? Why did he want to destroy Konoha? What kind of jutsu did he use? Looking at the ruined Konoha village, Sarutobi Hiruzen was very excited and afraid. He couldn't think of any ninjutsu that could turn Konoha into what was in the picture in an instant. It was really terrible. Senju Tobirama didn't answer Sarutobi Hiruzen's question, because he didn't know how to answer it. He clenched his hands and looked at the light screen with a serious expression, trying to see more details from it. Unfortunately, the picture of Konoha being destroyed did not stay for long. Even if Senju Tobirama had a good observation ability, he couldn't see more. The only thing that can be confirmed is that the time point in the picture happened more than 40 years later. Jin suddenly spoke at this time, awakening everyone who was in shock and fear. Why are you looking at me? Do you think I'm crazy? I won't speak anymore in the future. Jin smiled faintly, obviously recovered from his initial anger. Kagami is right. At this time, Tobirama continued to speak, saying, if I'm not mistaken, in the history without our intervention, Tsunade will become the 5th Hokage of Konoha. After saying that, Tobirama turned his head and looked at the confused little Tsunade, thinking, I hope Konoha will not be ruined by him. The 5th Hokage is Tsunade, doesn't that mean the village is doomed? Needless to say, among the people present, only little Jiraiya would say such a brainless thing. His words directly led to the close contact between little Tsunade's fist and his cheek. Asshole Jiraiya, if you can't speak, don't speak. Little Orochimaru smiled and said nothing. With Tobirama's careful teaching, little Orochimaru quite enjoyed the atmosphere of fighting and playing among his friends. Of course, the fighting and playing here is actually little Tsunade beating little Jiraiya. If he is involved, he will decline. No way will the village encounter such a big crisis in the future. Coincidentally, the ruins of Konoha revealed on the light curtain not only frightened the 5th generation Jiraiya and the 3rd generation Hokage, but also Danzo. Yes, he dreamed of becoming a Hokage. But if the village was destroyed, what was the point of being a Hokage? Danzo, Jiraiya, do you know who destroyed Konoha? The man's face was not shown in the picture. Through interviewing the villagers, the 3rd generation Hokage only knew that this man had earrings and was a non-mainstream person, and knew nothing else. He could only look at Jiraiya, who had been in charge of the route for many years and had been traveling for a long time, hoping to hear what he wanted from these two people. Unfortunately, the two shook their heads when facing the 3rd generation Hokage's gaze. Hiruzen, I thought about it carefully, and there is no information about this person in my memory. Old man, I don't know any non-mainstream people either. Hearing this, the 3rd generation Hokage sighed and turned to look at Orochimaru sitting at the door. Do you know anything? Orochimaru certainly knew. Whether it is the most terrifying organization in the ninja world, or the back figure on the light screen, or the non-mainstream appearance such as earrings, these conditions all point to the same person without exception. That is the boss of the Akatsuki organization, Pain. However, even if he knows, he may not say it out. With Pain's strength to destroy Konoha with one blow, even if he tells the other party, it will only add to the trouble. Not to mention, there are several other people in the Akatsuki organization who can fight besides him. It is better to stay safe for a while. Can't the light screen connect the past and future of the village? Orochimaru thinks that it won't be too late to tell the story of the Akatsuki organization when it is connected to the 1st generation Hokage, Tobirama Senju. Unfortunately, I don't know either. With a weird smile, Orochimaru answered the question of the 3rd generation Hokage. Really? Yes. That day, Danzo, who was still energetic after inhaling too much poison gas, served as the acting Hokage surrounded by the villagers. Ha, Hiruzen, did you see that? I finally became the Hokage. Impossible, how could someone like you become the Hokage? Danzo was so happy. He finally got the position of Hokage that he had always dreamed of. Especially when he saw the disbelief on the faces of the 5th Hokage Jiraiya and the 3rd Hokage. Even though he was not out of danger at this time, he could not hide his good mood. Nothing is impossible, how could the things shown on the light screen be false? Hearing this, the two were silent. Compared with the destruction of Konoha, they could not believe it even more. How could Danzo become the Hokage? What right did he have to become the Hokage? Unless, it was a usurpation of the throne. Yes, it must be like this. Chapter 56. End of the 4th issue. The light screen showed that Tsunade was seriously injured and unconscious when the mysterious man destroyed Konoha. Without the leadership of the Hokage in the village, it is not impossible for Danzo to suddenly emerge and fight for power and deceive the daimyo of the Land of Fire. The acting Hokage mentioned by Lin Tian can also prove this point. Tsunade is in a coma and cannot abdicate. If Danzo wants to be the Hokage, he can only act as the acting Hokage first. In this way, the logic is clear. After figuring this out, the 5th generation Jiraiya and the 3rd generation Hokage were relieved. Konoha couldn't let anyone be the Hokage, except Danzo. The two of them did not speak to disturb Danzo's excitement. Anyway, they would deal with him after the live screen ended. It doesn't matter if he is happy. Danzo, who became the acting Hokage, was not proud. Before he even got warm to the position, he took the trouble to replace Tsunade and went to the distant Iron Country to participate in the 5-Hokage conference to seek peace in the ninja world. 5th generation Jiraiya, 3rd generation Hokage. As I thought, he became the acting Hokage while Tsunade was in a coma. At the same time, he also had to deal with the remaining issues of Konoha's rebel ninjas at the meeting. Finally, let's connect with Hokage Danzo, who is fighting against the rebel ninja Sasuke. Will Sasuke become a rebel ninja in the end? At this moment, everyone in the Hokage's office looked at Orochimaru at the same time. After all, they all knew that Uchiha Sasuke was now Orochimaru's disciple. Don't worry, I'm here, Sasuke-kun shouldn't be a rebel ninja. Orochimaru figured out the logic of Sasuke becoming a rebel ninja in an instant. If the 2nd generation Hokage Senju Tobirama and others had not intervened during the Konoha collapse plan, he should have killed the old man and successfully evacuated Konoha. For Sasuke's health, he would definitely send people to Konoha to persuade the other party to abandon Konoha and join Otobaku. With Sasuke's desire and pursuit of power, this should not be difficult to do. But what puzzled Orochimaru was that since Sasuke came to Otobaku village, he should have been in his pocket. Whether he reincarnates immediately or 3 years later, Sasuke has no reason to survive. Could it be that something affected him and caused the reincarnation to fail? Or did Sasuke kill himself when he was reincarnated? Orochimaru thought about it and felt that it should be the latter. On the screen, the hostage held by Danzo was Karin. If he hadn't gotten into trouble, he would never have let go of a Uzumaki clan member like Karin, who had a special physique. Thinking in this way, it was in line with his expectations for Sasuke. After all, Sasuke in the future would be a more prestigious existence than himself. On the screen, Danzo, with blood flowing from the corner of his mouth and a look of embarrassment, was holding Karin, who was wearing glasses and had red hair, hostage and accepting an interview with reporters. Reporter: what do you think about becoming Hokage at this time? Is it worth it to pay so much and ignore your own life? Danzo: it's more than worth it, it's simply worth it. I just did what I should do. This is my position. Even if I die heroically, I should fulfill my duties. Reporter: thank you. Danzo: you're welcome. In the picture, Danzo used the 4 symbols seal in one shot and ascended to heaven successfully. If I hadn't known that Lin Tian was being sarcastic, I might have believed it. The 5th generation Jiraiya showed a little disdain at the corner of his mouth, and his tone was full of ridicule. The 3rd generation Hokage nodded and acknowledged the words of the 5th generation Jiraiya. This made Danzo very angry. Of course, the main reason was still because of the light curtain. He finally became Hokage, how could he die so soon? And died at the hands of Uchiha Sasuke. It's really unreasonable. At this moment, he was already planning that after he successfully passed this difficult time, he must secretly kill Sasuke. Even if he had to face Uchiha Itachi, a psychopath, in the future, he couldn't care so much. Anyway, all Uchiha people deserved to die. Sooner or later, they all had to die. The following is a summary of Danzo's review. For 73 years, you have been fighting non-stop. When your leader retires, you remain silent. When your classmate gets promoted, you are heartbroken. When the village clan relations are separated, you sow discord. When young talents are attacked secretly. Hard-working and taking the blame is your last stubbornness. No matter how many pots come, they cannot defeat the one sentence you say. You are the leaves bathed in the sun, and I am the roots buried deep underground. The official book also has endless praises for you. You are the darkness that supports the big tree hidden in the shadow of the leaves from the ground, and you are the ruthless roots that stretch out in the darkness of the leaves. Some people leave the pot and never come back. You are born from the pot, but you never left. When I came, I was worried that I was not brave enough. When I left, I was in a hurry, afraid that I didn't take enough blame. Half a century of wind and sand, not everyone can withstand the blows. A heart of love, a hand and an eye, a pot, a crutch. From youth to grey hair, the place where my heart belongs is the iron pot. The will of fire is passed down from generation to generation, but you are the hottest pot on the fire. The successive generations of Hokage have inherited the same lineage, but you are the pot they can't bear to mention. You are the pot sage who wandered in the ninja world, and you are also the respected pot bearer. Who says that a person covered in iron pots is not a yin bear? The first pot bearer in the ninja world, well deserved. 5th generation Jiraiya. 3rd generation Hokage. Senju Tobirama Sarutobi Hiruzen and other friends. Except for the two Shinyura Danzo, the rest of the people looked at the inventory summary given by Lin Tian, and they all looked like they were trying to hold back their laughter. It was really Lin Tian who was too mean. The first pot, the second pot. Even if Danzo was not a pot bearer, he became a pot bearer after he said that. What are you laughing at? The young man Danzo blushed, looked at Akimichi Naruto and asked, what are you laughing at? Seeing that Danzo's face was not right, Akimichi Naruto quickly waved his hands and said, sorry, I thought of something happy. What happy thing? My wife gave birth to a baby. Danzo knew about this matter, which happened 2 months ago. At this time, Mito Kadawan couldn't help laughing out loud. Danzo turned his head to look at Mito Kadawan and said, what are you laughing at again? Well, my wife also gave birth to a baby. God damn, she also gave birth to a baby, don't I know whether you have a wife or not? Your wives are the same person. Don't be like this, Danzo. You should know that we have all been through strict training. No matter how funny something is, we will not laugh. Mito Kadawan beside him nodded frantically, yes, unless we can't help it. That's enough, you two have not stopped since just now. Here, Senju Tobirama, who had already rewarded the gold nuggets, made a phone call to the third Hokage, and then came to Danzo with a smile on his face and patted his shoulder. Okay, Danzo, no one has any bad intentions. I know, teacher. Danzo lowered his head and sighed. Of course he knew that his friends had no bad intentions. He just felt a little aggrieved. Why should he be blamed for what the old guy did 40 years later? Why should he be laughed at by his friends like this? He now wanted to teleport over immediately and beat that old guy to death. At this moment, the third Hokage connected the communication with Senju Tobirama, and an old face appeared on the light screen. At this moment, everyone stopped laughing and looked at the light screen with a serious expression. To be precise, it was the elderly Danzo standing in the corner of the light curtain. Looking at Danzo who was wrapped in bandages, I heard Senju Tobirama said indifferently, Danzo, commit suicide. Danzo. Chapter 57. Other gods. Teacher, what did you say just now? I don't think I heard it clearly. What did Shinyura Danzo hear? The second Hokage, Senju Tobirama, whom he had been thinking about, actually asked him to commit suicide. Danzo would rather Tobirama scolded him harshly, even if he taught him a lesson in the name of training, he didn't want to hear the other party say such words. Danzo, face the reality and save some dignity for yourself. Listening to the cold and ruthless words of Tobirama on the light curtain, Danzo's heart was in great pain. When retreating from Kumogaku, he was just a little slower than Sarutobi Hiruzen by 1 second, and the position of the third Hokage left him. For so many years, he has worked diligently in Konoha, and everything he did was completely for the development of the village. Even if he was carrying a bad reputation, he had to make the village strong. He did so much. In addition to wanting to become a Hokage, he also wanted to prove to Senju Tobirama that choosing Sarutobi Hiruzen as the third Hokage was a wrong decision. Only he, Shinyura Danzo, can lead Konoha to glory. Only he, Shinyura Danzo, was the first choice for the position of Hokage. In the end, he not only got the title of Black Pot Sage, but also was humiliated by the mysterious light curtain. His respected teacher Tobirama wanted him to commit suicide. What kind of shitty world is this? It can be seen that Senju Tobirama's denial was the biggest blow to Danzo. At this time, he was already like a madman. With a hideous face, he pointed at the light curtain and said, "No, you are not Tobirama teacher, you are just a fake pretending to be him. I don't know about others, but the real Tobirama teacher will definitely understand me. I have always been protecting Konoha in his own way. The real Tobirama teacher will never deny me." Hearing these words, Senju Tobirama wanted to say, "Bullshit." He admitted that his thoughts were sometimes a little dark. But everything he did was to prepare for a rainy day. Researching forbidden techniques as to enhance strength and increase the foundation of the village, and he did not use people from his own village as experimental subjects. Although he divided and isolated the Uchiha clan, he still treated them as he should. As long as the Uchiha clan didn't do anything wrong, they would still be the first ninja clan in Konoha. He wasn't so cruel as to deliberately kill the Uchiha clan for the sake of studying the Sharingan. But it was Danzo. He didn't study the Sharingan, but directly embedded it in his own hand. He also planned to destroy the Uchiha clan for the Sharingan. "You told me that you learned such a bad and cruel method from me? Damn it, Danzo, don't talk nonsense, or I'll sue you for defamation." Senju Tobirama was angry, and he wanted to refute what Shinyori Danzo said. But when he saw Danzo, who was already on the verge of madness, he didn't want to say anything to this guy anymore. Anyway, no matter how much he said, Danzo probably couldn't listen. Then he looked at the third Hokage and asked, "Monkey, do you need our help?" Tobirama's meaning was very clear. "If you can't do it, I don't mind doing it for you. After all, there are several people here who were already rubbing their hands, thinking about going over to kill old Danzo. No need for the teacher to do anything, I will take care of it." "Okay, in that case, let's set the transmission time for tomorrow, Orochimura, prepare the cloning information, I want to see it when I come, don't say we're not researching cloning." "Okay, Second Hokage. Don't worry, I won't let you suffer, I will also bring my research information on cloning." "Haha, that's even better." The communication time has come, and when the light curtain disappears, the atmosphere in the office suddenly becomes solemn. The third Hokage looked at his old friend with a complicated expression and said, "Danzo, the teacher is right, save some dignity for yourself." "Humph, if you don't want to be decent, I don't mind helping you to be decent." The fifth Hokage Jiraiya knew that the third Hokage couldn't do it, so he immediately stepped forward, pressing Danzo and continuously putting pressure on him. Danzo was indeed under a lot of pressure. Just now, after finishing the conversation with Senju Tobirama, he was already thinking of a way to escape. However, the positions of the third Hokage and his men had completely blocked his escape route. Run backwards. Orochimura at the door was no pushover. Even if Orochimura could not withstand his attack, as long as he delayed a little, the third Hokage and the fifth Jiraiya would arrive. Run forward and jump out the window. That would not work either. Danzo was standing on the left, the fifth Jiraiya was slightly behind his right hand, and the third Hokage was in front of his right hand. If he jumped out the window forward, he would be perceived by the third Hokage and the fifth Jiraiya. Neither the front nor the back was right. For now, the only option was Kowtow Matsukamai. Thinking of this, Danzo quietly used Kowtow Matsukamai, known as the strongest illusion, on the third Hokage. The reason why he used it on the third Hokage instead of the fifth Jiraiya and Orochimura was simply because the third Hokage was their teacher. With the third Hokage assisting and speaking for him, maybe he wouldn't have to run. "Danzo, surrender, you can't get away." Danzo ignored the fifth Hokage Jiraiya who was talking, and looked at the third Hokage whose will had been modified by Kowtow Matsukamai. "Hiruzen, do you really want me to die?" The third Hokage didn't realize that his will had been modified. He took 2 puffs of cigarette and said with difficulty, "Danzo, disband the route and hand over all the Sharingan, I can guarantee your survival." "Keep your word." Danzo was secretly happy. What's the point of disbanding the route? As long as he is still there, he can always rebuild a new route. And the third Hokage is still under his control, maybe he can find an opportunity to let the third Hokage abolish Jiraiya's position as Hokage and let himself become the sixth Hokage. As for handing over all the Sharingan, that is a problem, but it is not a big problem, at most I can steal it out later. The third Hokage is my people, what's the point of a mere Sharingan? The whole Konoha will be ruled by me, Danzo. "Old man, what are you talking about?" Danzo was secretly happy on the side, but Jiraiya the fifth looked at the third Hokage in surprise. "I know what I'm talking about. Danzo has worked hard for Konoha for so many years. Even if he has no credit, he has worked hard. Let's spare his life. At this time, Jiraiya the Fifth reacted quickly and had already noticed that something was wrong with the Third Hokage. He had just promised the Second Hokage that he would deal with Danzo, but why did his attitude change so suddenly? Thinking about what the Third Hokage had told him about kowtow Matsukamai, he immediately realized that the old man was being controlled by Danzo. Old man, listen to me. Knowing that the Third Hokage was being controlled, Jiraiya the Fifth did not alert him, but came to him and whispered. Old man, do you know that you have been controlled by kowtow Matsukamai? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 58. Danzo will deliver the goods to your door. Old man, do you know that you have been controlled by kowtow Matsukamai? Huh. The Third Hokage was shocked when he heard this. He recalled everything from his behavior when he looked at the light curtain to what happened just now, and it was easy to notice something awkward. After all, it was not the original product, and Danzo's use of kowtow Matsukamai still had a lot of flaws. During the 5-Kage Summit in the original work, Danzo used kowtow Matsukamai to control Mifune, wanting the other party to elect him as the commander of the coalition forces. This behavior was discovered by Ayo at the Hidden Mist Village. When Danzo used kowtow Matsukamai, he had to maintain the chakra of this technique all the time in order to achieve the purpose of controlling others. After being discovered by Ado, he cut off the chakra supply, and Mifune immediately returned to his original state. Itachi was different. Although he was not the master of kowtow Matsukamai, he was also a member of the Uchiha clan, and he had experience in using the Mange-kin, so after being released by the Impure World reincarnation, he used kowtow Matsukamai to reverse his will and got rid of the control of Orochimaru once and for all. From this, we can see how big a flaw Danzo had in using kowtow Matsukamai. It was the same right before his eyes. When Jiraiya Godai said this, the Third Hokage could sense that his will was being controlled by kowtow Matsukamai, and he immediately woke up. Then he laughed, pushed Jiraiya Godai away, and slowly walked towards Danzo. Old buddy, as long as you sincerely repent, I think the teacher will forgive you. Danzo didn't know what Jiraiya Godai said to the Third Hokage. But seeing the Third Hokage walking towards him with a smile, he secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Don't worry, Hiruzen, I won't do this kind of thing again. This is the Danzo I know. Walking closer, the Third Hokage laughed and opened his hands to make a gesture of wanting to hug. Danzo didn't refuse, raised the corner of his mouth, and made the same gesture. When the two hugged each other tightly, the Third Hokage suddenly exerted force with his hands and turned a direction, exposing Danzo's back to Jiraiya Godai. Jiraiya, do it. At this moment, Danzo realized that the Third Hokage had somehow escaped from kowtow Matsukamai's control. However, he also realized that the connection between his right eye and the Third Hokage was not broken, which meant that kowtow Matsukamai was still working. He didn't care about that anymore and immediately increased the transmission of chakra, trying to change the Third Hokage's will. To be honest, the Third Hokage did not escape from kowtow Matsukamai's control. All his actions were in line with the logic of his modified will. He smiled and approached Danzo. Is there anything wrong with this? As old friends for many years, there is nothing wrong with hugging, right? Knowing that the other party had gone astray and wanted to turn over a new leaf, he was a little emotional, increased the intensity of the hug, and turned half a circle. Is there anything wrong with this? You see, there is nothing wrong with this. So when Danzo increased the transmission of chakra, it didn't do anything. Rasengan. Before Danzo could notice this, the Rasengan of the 5th Jiraiya landed on Danzo's back. Severely injured by Jiraiya the 5th generation, Danzo also interrupted the chakra transmission of kowtow Matsukamai. Only then did the 3rd generation Hokage truly get rid of this strongest illusion. Is Danzo dead? Looking at Danzo lying on the ground like a dead dog, the 3rd generation Hokage showed a look of pity. His heart was crushed by the Rasengan, he couldn't die anymore. Well, at least he left a complete body and didn't suffer much pain, hey, let it be. The 3rd generation Hokage was very sad. After all, they were old friends for decades. Even if they made mistakes, now that they are dead, everything will naturally return to dust. Old man, don't be too sad, Danzo's death is not a pity. The 3rd generation Hokage was in a low mood, and Jiraiya the 5th generation comforted him. Orochimaru, who had been sitting at the door, was a little strange. Did Danzo die just like that? Wasn't it a little too easy? It's not that Danzo couldn't die, but his death was too hasty. The cooperation between the old man and Jiraiya of the 5th generation was too smooth. But when he recalled what happened just now, he couldn't find any flaws. Danzo's body was right in front of him, and his heart was also crushed. It seemed that Danzo was really dead. Just when Orochimaru also determined that Danzo was completely dead, Danzo's body lying on the ground suddenly disappeared. A man wrapped in bandages and leaning on a cane reappeared in front of them. "Old man, Jiraiya, Danzo is not dead yet." Seeing the resurrected Danzo, Orochimaru hurriedly reminded the two. Unfortunately, his reminder was still a little slow. The resurrected Danzo ignored the three people and immediately ran towards the French window of the office. Under the surprised eyes of the 3rd Hokage and the 5th Jiraiya, with a click, the French window was successfully broken by Danzo. "Ha ha ha, Hiruzen, you want to kill me? Dream on. Chase, we must not let Danzo run away." The 3rd Hokage gave an order, and the 5th Jiraiya, Orochimaru and himself, the three of them began to chase Danzo with all their strength. "Danzo, you can't run away." Danzo ignored the three people behind him and ran towards the village entrance. It seemed that he wanted to run away from Konoha village. It's bad. If he leaves the village, I don't know when I can catch him. Thinking of this, the 3rd Hokage threw a shuriken at Danzo, and quickly formed seals with both hands. Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. The shuriken in front of him quickly changed from 1 to 2, and then 2 to 4, and 4 to 8. Soon the shuriken became 64. Danzo heard the sound of breaking air behind him and knew that there was a hidden weapon attacking him. He didn't waste time, and jumped forward with all his strength, then turned around and used Wind Escape at these shurikens. Wind Escape. Great Breakthrough. Great Breakthrough is a basic wind escape. Its lethality is limited, but it is still no problem to use it to interfere with these shurikens. The fact is just as Danzo thought, his Great Breakthrough perfectly blocked the attack of the shuriken. Damn it. Because they were in the village, the three people chasing Danzo could not use powerful ninjutsu, and could only use hidden weapons and some less powerful ninjutsu to stop Danzo in front. Unfortunately, the effect of doing so was minimal. Seeing that Danzo was about to run to the entrance of the village, the density of houses and the flow of people here were already very small. The 3rd Hokage wanted to use a powerful fire escape ninjutsu to stop Danzo. However, before he could implement it, Danzo in front suddenly used a summoning technique to summon Dream Bun. With the entanglement and obstruction of Dream Bun, Danzo easily knocked down the Konoha Gate Guard Kamatsu Kishimoto and Ganzaitsu. After the 5th Hokage Jiraiya and the other two dealt with Dream Bun, Danzo had successfully disappeared in front of them. Jiraiya, issue a wanted order to the ninja world. That's the only way. It's not that easy to kill me, Danzo. Danzo, who successfully escaped from Konoha village, smiled, as if silently mocking the 3rd Hokage. But where should I go now? Standing on a big tree, Danzo was rarely confused. He has done a lot of things in these years, and he has offended almost all the major ninja villages in the ninja world. It is really not easy to find a safe place to stay now. No, I couldn't go to the Hidden Rain village. Hanzo of the Salamander owes me a favor. Now, it's time for him to repay the favor. With an idea, Danzo did not stay where he was, but quickly moved towards the Land of Rain. Nagato would probably laugh in his dreams if Danzo came to surrender. Nagato. There is such a good thing. Chapter 59. The sudden appearance of White Zetsu. The next morning, a jaw-dropping news made the whole ninja world boil. The Dark Ninja of Konoha village, the leader of the Root, the old friend of the 3rd Hokage, Shimura Danzo, defected. This is not just a rumor spread by the intelligence, but there is a wanted order from Konoha as evidence, proving that Danzo has indeed defected. In addition, many people saw the 3rd Hokage, the 5th Hokage Jiraiya, and Orochimaru chasing Danzo on the street last night. Danzo has done a lot of bad things in the ninja world. If we say who is the strongest in the ninja world today, there may be controversy. But if we say who is hated, it must be Danzo. There are too many people in the ninja world who want to kill him. These people used to be concerned about the power of Konoha and could only think about it secretly. Now, this guy has defected for some reason. Oh, heaven and earth, which fairy sister has given us this bad breath? Without the protection of Konoha, Danzo is just an old-fashioned Chunin with decent strength. At this moment, after learning the news, many people have begun to go to the underground gold exchange offices where they are located to accept the task of killing Danzo. Danzo is hated by so many people. I have to say that he is really a talent. In a gold exchange office, a bounty hunter who was accepting tasks looked at a series of tasks to kill Danzo and couldn't help but sigh. TSK, all the tasks add up to a bounty of 80 million taels. As long as I can successfully kill him, I will immediately find a place to live in seclusion and never ask about the affairs of the ninja world again. Come on, there are too many people who want to kill this guy. If I go alone, I think it's a bit mysterious. You're right, it seems that we have to unite some people to take action together. Friends, are you interested in joining forces with me? Then the bounty will be split in half. Haha, sure. This scene appeared in various gold exchange offices. They all have the same goal, which is to kill Danzo. And our Danzo is still on his way to the Hidden Rain village. Tobirama's office. Senju Tobirama has already sorted out the data of the cloning experiment, and is just waiting for the agreed time to arrive. Kagami and Hiruzen have already set off to the capital of the Land of Fire. There are 4 places for the time travel this time, which is just given to the remaining 4 students. Tsunade, Jiraiya, or Okimura. After we go there, you must protect this place and don't let anyone in. Seeing that the time is running out, Tobirama turned around and reminded the 3 little guys. Second Grandpa, you're so long-winded. It's the second generation master. Second generation master, you can go on your journey with peace of mind. I, Jiraiya, will definitely not let you down. Looking at Jiraiya, who patted his chest to make a promise, Tobirama and the other 4 were all frowning. What do you mean by going on your journey with peace of mind? People who don't know would think they are going to die. Fortunately, their masters are generous and didn't bother with Jiraiya. Okay, see you in an hour. Well, goodbye, Second Grandpa. The agreed time arrived, Tobirama and his 4 students flashed with light, and they disappeared on the spot just like last time. But this time it was a little different. A guy with a pale body and an evil smile fell from Tobirama's body. What is this? The sudden appearance of the thing made the 3 little ones' faces change drastically. They had just promised Tobirama that no one would enter the office. Then a guy who didn't know what he was appeared in front of them. You're so rude. Let me tell you, I'm not a thing. I have a name. My name is Baizetsu. The 3 little ones looked at each other and felt that the guy named Baizetsu in front of them seemed to have some problems with his brain. Baizetsu, right? Can you tell us how you got in here? Baizetsu didn't seem to worry about his situation at all. He smiled and replied, it's very simple. I possessed Senju Tobirama's body and came in with him. Impossible, you possessed the second grandfather. The second grandfather couldn't have failed to notice it. There are countless secret techniques in the ninja world. Even though that 3 little ones didn't know what kind of secret technique could allow people to possess others, they didn't refute it. They simply thought that even if there was such a possession secret technique, with the strength of the second Hokage Senju Tobirama, it would be impossible for him not to notice it. That's the fact. Baishi shrugged, still smiling. Why are you laughing all the time? What's so funny about this? Little Jiraiya was a little annoyed by the smile of Baizetsu, and directly spoke to him. Why can't you laugh? Yes, why can't you laugh? You can control everything, and you can't control other people's shit and fart. Okay, laugh if you like, and you'd better laugh for a while. You don't have much time, because you failed the mission. Yes, the mission failed. While talking, the 3 little ones were not idle either. They began to move cautiously and surrounded Baizetsu. Why don't I see Danzo's body? Senju Tobirama came to the office of the 5th Hokage Jiraiya, and with just one sentence, he embarrassed the 3rd Hokage and the 5th Jiraiya. Fortunately, Okimura was there. He was not embarrassed. He stepped forward and handed the prepared information to Senju Tobirama, saying, Second generation master, this is the information you want. While flipping through the information in his hand, Tobirama asked, did something happen? The 3rd Hokage and the 5th Jiraiya looked at each other, and finally the 5th Jiraiya said with a stiff face. There was an accident. I had used the Rasengan to crush Danzo's heart. Who knew that he didn't die like this, and escape from Konoha while we were relaxed and careless? I understand. It's not your fault. After all, you didn't know he could use his Anijin. His Anijin? What is that? This time Tobirama didn't answer the 5th Jiraiya, but put down the information and turned to the 4 disciples. Kahara, On, and Kabata, you can move freely for this hour. Yes, teacher. These 3 people are full of interest in Konoha 40 years later. Last time, due to the problem of quota and strength, they did not compete with Hiruzen, Danzo and Kagami. This time, they came here with all the money ready, just to have a good look around this prosperous Konoha. Hearing that Kahara and the others could go to Konoha, but he was left alone, Danzo asked in surprise. Teacher, what about me? You should explain to them what Izanagi is first. Once they have no problem, you can move freely. Yes, teacher. Danzo was so annoyed. He always felt that Tobirama was hitting him. Otherwise, why didn't he let Kohara and the others explain, but let him, the young version of Danzo, do it? Chapter 60. By Zetsu. We are not afraid of death, we are all tough. In the office of Jiraiya the 5th Hokage, Danzo went to explain what Izanagi is to the 3rd Hokage and Jiraiya the 5th Hokage. Beside him, Tobirama Senju looked at Orochimaru and said, Orochimaru, take me to your laboratory, let's hurry up and study it together. Okay, Nadami-sama, it's my honor. Orochimaru wanted to know what Izanagi was, which could bring Danzo back to life. But he cherished the opportunity to cooperate with Tobirama Senju even more. He could ask Jiraiya about Izanagi afterwards. The opportunity to cooperate with Tobirama Senju only comes once a month, and each time is only for 1 hour. Knowing that the opportunity is rare, he also specially summoned a small snake to notify Kabuto Yakushi to come and meet him quickly. This shows how much he values Kabuto Yakushi's talent. An hour passed quickly. Except for Danzo's face, which was a bit sour, the other 4 people were full of games. Tobirama burst out a lot of inspiration when getting along with Orochimaru and Kabuto Yakushi, which made him feel that the trip was worthwhile. Kohara and his friends also bought some new things in the market. Especially Akimichi tofu. He did not return to the Akimichi family, but followed Kohara and Yan to buy a lot in the market. He bought a lot of those new and delicious snacks. Anyway, he went there empty-handed, but came back with a big bag. With that scale, he would not lack snacks for at least half a month. What happened? Senju Tobirama, who returned to his own time and space, asked when he saw the extremely messy office. Second Grandpa, we didn't want it either. Who told this guy to be dishonest and dare to exist after we found him? After hearing what Tsunade said, everyone saw that there was a pale humanoid creature under Orochimaru and Jiraiya's buttocks. What happened? Tell me in detail. Yes, Second Grandpa. Immediately, Tsunade sent them away, and White Zetsu appeared, and then they told Senju Tobirama that they subdued White Zetsu. After hearing what Tsunade said, Tobirama came to White Zetsu thoughtfully and asked, You were sent by Madara? Upon hearing this, White Zetsu, who had already accepted his fate but still had a smile on his face, replied, As expected of the 2nd Hokage, you are so right every time you guess. After confirming his guess, Tobirama did not continue to ask any more questions, but became interested in White Zetsu himself. You don't seem to be afraid of death. Yes, we White Zetsu are not afraid of death, and we are all tough. Why? There are many people like you. Yes, we are all Madara's subordinates, and we do whatever he wants us to do. Looking at the very cooperative White Zetsu, Tobirama's interest in this guy was directly raised to the maximum. Through a few conversations, he has already noticed that White Zetsu, a creature, does not seem to have human emotions. So, how was this White Zetsu without human emotions created? Jiraiya, Orochimaru, bring him to my laboratory. Okay, Hokage-sama. In the evening, another White Zetsu who had an appointment with White Zetsu who possessed Tobirama to meet once a month did not wait for him at the designated location. He instantly realized that something might have gone wrong. Well anyway, I'm just a scout of White Zetsu, and it's none of my business if something unexpected happens during the mission. Let Madara-sama and Zetsu worry about it. No, if he forgets the agreed time, I'll probably be blamed for going to Madara-sama to report. Well, I'd better wait a while. Late at night, in the mountain cemetery, the lair of Uchiha Madara. Madara, who stays at home, can be said to be quite bored. Because of the tube of the Outer Path demon statue inserted in his back to prolong his life, it is not very convenient for him to go out. Of course, he doesn't want to go out that much. Unless he wants to make some arrangements in the ninja world and he has to take action, he will cut the tube behind him and step out of the door. Now, the ninja world is peaceful, and it is not the time for him to take action. Hasn't there been any news from Konoha? Hearing Madara calling him, Black Zetsu stood up from the ground. Not yet. I remember I agreed to report once a month, right? Black Zetsu nodded and replied, yes. Then there should be news coming back by now, unless, Black Zetsu added, unless something unexpected happens. Madara nodded and shook his head. The concealment ability of White Zetsu's spore jutsu was very strong. As long as they don't take the initiative to launch it, the people possessed by them will not know that they are possessed. Madara couldn't think of anyone in Konoha village who could see through the spore jutsu. No, it's not that there is none. At this moment, he thought of that woman. the Uzumaki Mito who married Hashirama and passed by him, cough cough, and became the Nine-Tails Jingariki. If it was her, maybe she could really detect White Zetsu using the Sport Jutsu. By the way, Zetsu, which White Zetsu did you send as a liaison? Even if the possessed White Zetsu has an accident, he should have sent back the news by now. It's White Zetsu no. 233. Hearing this, Madara looked at Black Zetsu with an idiot look and said, "You sent a White Zetsu who thinks he has procrastination to be a liaison." Does he think he has procrastination? I don't know, I thought he was the Chatterbox White Zetsu. Didn't I burn the Chatterbox White Zetsu to ashes? Lord Madara, please forgive me. Black Zetsu was very straightforward about to Uchiha Madara. At the same time, he was also complaining in his heart. Damn, there are so many White Zetsu, and they all look the same, how can he know who is who? Oh, how stupid, I can't believe you are the incarnation of my will. Black Zetsu. Haha, as if you were not stupid. Konoha's 61st year of Ninja World. After a day and a night of travel, Danzo finally entered the territory of the Land of Rain. With his brain, he naturally knew how many people would come to assassinate him when the news of his defection from Konoha appeared in the ninja world. Now, as long as he rushed a little further, he would be safe after entering the Hidden Rain village and finding Hanzo. The title of the demigod in the ninja world can still scare most people. The weather in the Rain Country is still so annoying. The Rain Country lacks everything except water resources. Because it rains here for 300 days out of 365 days a year. The neighboring Wind Country is almost crying with greed. It is precisely because of their greed that when the Hidden Sand Village launched the Second Ninja War, the first target of the attack was the Rain Country. If there is no other way, I really don't want to come to this broken place. Compared with the Fire Country where the 4 seasons are like spring, other places in the ninja world are broken places. Helplessly, in order to survive, he can only come to Hanzo. At this time, on a high tower somewhere in the Hidden Rain village, feeling the strange shaker coming from the Rain Tiger's free technique, Tendo Pain frowned subconsciously. Who could be the source of this shaker? Do you need me to go check it out? Conan, who was wearing a catsuit uniform, asked calmly. Okay, if this person does anything bad, kill him. Understood. Looking at Conan leaving, Pain thought for a moment but still felt uneasy, so he quietly followed her. Chapter 61 Danzo vs Conan. Danzo's way of entering the Hidden Rain village was very clever. He first summoned a very small dream bun. After the dream bun slipped into the corner, he used reverse summoning and successfully entered the Hidden Rain village. He believed that the fewer people knew about his joining the Salamander Hanzo, the safer he would be. After all, there were still many young people in the ninja world. If the title of the demigod of the Salamander Hanzo could not scare these people, his situation would be very dangerous. He did not think that the Salamander Hanzo would refuse to protect him. Because in addition to the debt of favor in hand, he also knew some of the other party's black materials. At the very least, if the fact that they joined forces to wipe out the Akatsuki organization was exposed, it would be enough to destroy the prestige of the Salamander Hanzo. If it was not to the point of being at the end of his rope, Hanzo would definitely not betray himself. Well, this is what Danzo himself thought. Unfortunately, what he didn't know was that the Salamander Hanzo had been killed by Pain a long time ago. And he was also discovered by Pain the moment he entered the Hidden Rain village. Look, flying in the sky, Shonen was sensing and rushing towards the place where the strange shaker appeared. When she arrived at the place, she saw Shimura Danzo, who was sneaking around. Is it him? Akatsuki's intelligence officer, Zetsu, told them about Danzo's defection from Konoha in the morning. But they didn't expect that Danzo didn't find a place to hide and become a stray dog, but ran to the Hidden Rain village. What is he doing here? With this idea in mind, Shonen didn't attack Danzo immediately. Instead, she wanted to see what this guy wanted to do. Time passed by minute, and Danzo also came to the office building in the center of the Hidden Rain village very smoothly. Hanzo was very ambitious when he was young and wanted to become the 6th country after the 5 major countries. The construction of the ninja village is also built according to the standards of the other 5 major countries. This office building was built in imitation of the Konoha office building. At this time, Hanzo should be working inside. Looking at the building in front of him, Danzo smiled disdainfully, then muttered something, and finally sneaked in stealthily. Is he here to find Hanzo? Ever since Hanzo was killed by them, this office building has been abandoned. However, in order to conceal the fact that those with ulterior motives have actually been aware that Hanzo is dead, this office building has been operating normally in the eyes of outsiders. There are the necessary guards. There are also the necessary task issues. Anyway, all the necessary configurations are here. But in fact, these are all appearances. All the people inside are pretending to be peripheral members of the Akatsuki organization. The purpose is to deceive. Obviously, Danzo was deceived. He was cautious and avoided all the staff in the office building, and came to the leader's office on the 3rd floor. Standing in front of the door, he took a deep breath, opened the door and walked in. Hanzo, don't you want to entertain your old friend? The overall layout of this office is similar to that of the Hokage's office. As soon as he entered the office, he could see Hanzo the salamander sitting at the desk. Maybe it was because the rain was still coming from the hidden rain village, so the light in the room was not very bright. In addition, Hanzo of the salamander was not facing Danzo directly, but facing the French window behind him. Danzo did not realize for a moment that the Hanzo in front of him was a fake. Well, to be precise, it was a human-shaped wooden puppet. Hanzo? After several seconds without a response from Hanzo, Danzo also sensed something was wrong. He began to move forward cautiously. When he came to the right side of the desk and saw that the person sitting on the chair was a puppet, he was shocked. While Danzo was shocked, Conan appeared at the door and attacked Danzo. Paper style. Paper shuriken. Conan gently waved his right hand in the direction of the office. In an instant, a large number of shurikens formed by paper attacked Danzo. What? The sudden attack startled Danzo. Wood release. Burst gun tree. At the critical moment, Danzo jumped back and smashed the French window. At the same time, his right hand quickly created a huge tree, successfully blocking Conan's paper shuriken. Who are you? After landing on a civilian house, Danzo did not run away immediately. He looked at Conan flying in the sky and asked solemnly. You don't need to know my identity. Conan replied expressionlessly. Seeing that the other party was unwilling to reveal his identity, Danzo did not continue to ask. He just wanted to see Hanzo as soon as possible. You were a coward. You were not qualified to talk to me. Where is Hanzo? Ask him to come out to see me. Conan looked strange when she heard this. You want to see Hanzo? Yes, let him come to see me as soon as possible, otherwise I will expose the ugly things he did before. This threat was useless to Conan. She still had that expressionless look and said, okay, then I will send you to see him. Hearing this, Danzo was relieved. Although his original words were to let Hanzo come to see him. But it's not impossible for him to go to Hanzo. As long as he can see him, it's fine. Paper style. Shikigami dance. As Conan launched the ninjutsu, her body began to quickly transform into pieces of paper. A large amount of paper appeared and attacked Danzo. Seeing this, Danzo did not fight back immediately. He still hasn't figured out the situation. He doesn't know why Hanzo's men attacked him. That's right, he thought Conan was Hanzo's men. After all, this is the Hidden Cloud Village, the Hidden Rain Village of Hanzo of the Salamander. He never thought that Hanzo would be killed, and died so silently. What do you mean? I don't know. And it stopped raining in the sky, allowing Conan's paper style to exert its full power. Danzo had a hard time dodging the flying papers. Didn't you say you were going to see Hanzo? What does my going to see Hanzo have to do with you attacking me? If I don't kill you, how can you see Hanzo? What? Hanzo is dead. Danzo panicked. If Hanzo died, then there would be no one in the entire ninja world who could provide him with shelter. Did Shinya Danzo really have to be a homeless dog hiding from home? Don't resist, I'll send you to see him right now. Conan stepped up her attack, and the shuriken, long hair, and short sword transformed from paper kept attacking Danzo. This time, facing Conan's attack, Danzo did not hold back. Wind style. Vacuum ball. While dodging left and right, Danzo saw the opportunity, took a deep breath and aimed at Conan and the paper, and his mouth sprayed many air bullets like a machine gun. Chapter 62. Danzo vs. Pain. Using bullets with strong penetrating power to deal with paper is a very wise response. After a while, a large amount of paper was penetrated by these air bullets and holes were made, and at the same time, Conan's Shaper transmission was delayed for a moment. Danzo is indeed an experienced veteran genin, and he seized this momentary opportunity. Wind style. Vacuum ball. If the vacuum ball is a machine gun, the vacuum ball is a rocket launcher. The paper penetrated by the air bullet did not play any blocking role. The air cannon with a diameter of more than 1 meter successfully hit Conan. Paper stand. The power of the vacuum ball is very strong. Most people can announce their death after such a shot. But Conan is different. The moment she was hit, her body began to turn into paper. The vacuum ball only hit her, who turned into paper. Danzo, who didn't know the details of the paper style ninjutsu, thought that the opponent's move was some kind of paper stand. No, it's just a simple paper dance. As the surrounding paper began to gather, Conan's figure reappeared in front of Danzo. Looking at Conan, who reappeared without blushing or panting, Danzo cursed inwardly. Trouble. It was indeed troublesome. As long as Conan had enough chakra, Danzo's wind escape could not hurt him. Not to mention wind escape, even fire escape would not work. In the original work, when Jiraiya faced Conan's attack, the first thing he used was fire escape. After seeing that fire escape had no effect, he used toad oil. Danzo did not have toad oil to attack Conan. He only knew wind escape and one or two immature wood escape. Let's not talk about wood escape for now, and the effect of wind escape, he just saw it, it was basically useless. Conan could appear in front of him like nothing happened even after such a big air cannon hit him, which was enough to prove that wind escape was really not very effective against Conan. At this moment, Danzo thought about retreating. Little girl, I should have no grudge against you, right? Since Hanzo is dead, I won't bother you. No grudge? How could there be no grudge? Before Hanzo was killed, Pain learned from him why Hanzo wanted to destroy the Akatsuki organization. It was the old dog Danzo who instigated it behind the scenes. If it weren't for Danzo, Hanzo wouldn't have set a trap in the name of agreeing to cooperate and destroyed the Akatsuki organization. If it weren't for Danzo, Yahiko wouldn't have died. In the final analysis, Danzo was the culprit who caused the destruction of the Akatsuki organization and the death of Yahiko. Now this guy actually told her that there was no hatred between them. It's really ridiculous. Danzo, you really deserve to die. Conan, who always had a blank expression, couldn't help showing an angry face at this time. Just die honestly. Conan launched a paper attack again. She increased the amount of chakra input, making these papers much harder and faster. If Danzo still wanted to use the vacuum jade to deal with it, he would definitely not have a good result. This crazy woman. Danzo cursed inwardly, while dodging quickly, he also fought back. Wind style. Shuriken. As Danzo injected chakra into the shuriken in his hand, a wind style cutter formed around the rapidly rotating shuriken. A large amount of paper was cut in half by the cutter, losing its original function. The reduction of paper also reduced Danzo's pressure. He also understood it. The woman opposite was indeed good at paper style, but her attack methods were very scarce. Judging from the wind style ninjutsu he mastered, he could not deal with her, and she could not deal with him. At the same time, he was also very confused. The other party seemed to have a serious illness and kept biting him. If I have done anything wrong to you, just tell me. If you don't say it, how can I know where I offended you? Shaking his head, Danzo felt that it didn't matter anymore. He had roughly figured out the strengths and weaknesses of the other party's paper style, and it was time to leave. Thinking of this, he threw another wind-style ninjutsu at Conan and began to cover his retreat. Just as he jumped away from Conan several times in a row, a rhinoceros that came from nowhere hit him against a wall with great force. While the damage caused by this collision was not small, and Danzo spit out 2 mouthfuls of blood. Pain. Conan, who successfully defended against Danzo's wind escape, came back to her senses and looked for Danzo, and saw that Danzo was knocked away by the rhinoceros. She knew that this was the 6 paths of pain controlled by Nagato. You go and evacuate the people around, and leave this guy to me. Conan nodded without refutation, and turned around to arrange for people to evacuate. In fact, as early as when Conan attacked Danzo outside, he was discovered by the ninjas of the Hidden Rain village. They wanted to help, but when they saw that the person who attacked was an angel, they did not come up. In order to avoid making things worse, these people spontaneously organized themselves and began to evacuate the people around. Who are you? Danzo, who spit out 2 mouthfuls of blood, covered his chest and looked at the circle in front of him. He dared to swear that he really didn't know this person. Everything that happened in this world is really strange. I didn't go to Konoha to find you, but you ran to Yogaku. The animal calmly stood in front of Danzo, admiring the embarrassed posture of the old dog vomiting blood. God knows how much pain Nagato endured when he knew the truth, so he didn't go to Konoha village to seek revenge on Danzo. He inherited Yahiko's will and wanted to make this ninja world completely peaceful. Capture the 9-tailed beasts and merge them into the 10 tails, and use the power of the 10 tails to deter the entire ninja world. Before this power is resolved, the major ninja villages will definitely unite against the outside world and no longer easily start a war. As long as he has the power of the 10 tails, the ninja world will always be peaceful. In order to capture the 9-tailed beasts, the Akatsuki organization, which is not ready at this stage, must keep a low profile. If you want revenge, you have to wait until the organization is ready before you act. But Nagato didn't expect that Danzo would actually come to his door. If he didn't kill him, he would be sorry for such a good opportunity. Die. With a command, the hellhound that had been hiding nearby instantly appeared in front of Danzo, opened its bloody mouth and bit him. Want to kill me? Dream on. Danzo didn't know where he got so many enemies in the Hidden Rain village. He only knew that the man with circles in front of him was not on the same level as that woman. If he didn't fight hard, he might really die here. Would release. Violent Spear Tree. Danzo mastered very few would release ninjutsu, and he could only use this one skillfully. Fortunately, this move was powerful, not only for defense but also for attack. The hellhound didn't expect that the old man in front of him could fight back, and was pierced by the wooden stake when he was not careful, and returned to the spirit world. Danzo's resistance made Pain very dissatisfied. He said lightly, "According to God's will, isn't it better to just die obediently? Why do you still resist?" As soon as the voice fell, 2 more people with circles in their eyes appeared in front of Danzo. These 2 people were the Hell and the Hungry Ghost. Those who resist God will not have a good end. Pain does not only refer to the way of heaven, but also the other 5 ways. From Bedu Encyclopedia equals. Chapter 63. Danzo. I can be resurrected. A frog in a well doesn't know how high the sky is and how deep the earth is. How dare he call himself a god? Danzo admitted that the current Rain village was very different from the one he remembered, and these ninjas were also very powerful. But would it be too arrogant to say that he was a god? Forget it, I have lost interest in talking to you. You'd better die. After saying that, a little fat man with circle eyes took the lead in launching an attack. As the Hungry Ghost path in Pain's 6 paths, he has 2 main abilities. One is the seal technique to form a shield to absorb the opponent's ninjutsu. In the original work, he has absorbed powerful techniques such as Jiraiya's Senjutsu, Goemon, Super Big Ball Rasengan, and Fire Style, Big Flame Bomb. The second is chakra swallowing. He can absorb the opponent's chakra into his own body by directly contacting the opponent's body. However, this technique has a disadvantage, that is, it can only absorb ordinary chakra. If the chakra absorbed is the chakra of the celestial chakra, the Hungry Ghost path will be turned into a stone statue by the chakra of the celestial chakra. Fortunately, there are too few people in the ninja world today who can use the Sage mode. At present, there is only Jiraiya. In the later stage, Naruto and Orochimaru will be added, and there will be only 3. Danzo does not know the Senjutsu mode, nor does he have Senjutsu chakra. Once the Hungry Ghost path comes into close contact with his body, the consequences can be imagined. HMPH, such a direct attack, isn't it a bit too much of a disdain for me? In addition to these 2 abilities, the Hungry Ghost path's physical ability is very ordinary. Facing the attack of the Hungry Ghost path, Danzo easily dodged it and even made some counterattacks. He kicked the Hungry Ghost path away, and looked at the fat man with circle eyes who stood up again as if nothing had happened. Danzo frowned and felt something was wrong. He used 80% of his strength in the previous kick, and kicked the other party away fiercely. Not to mention that he beat the other party to vomit blood and was seriously injured, he should at least show some respect. What does it mean that he just patted the dust on his clothes and stood up again? Moreover, he felt that the touch when he kicked this person was a bit wrong, and it seemed very stiff. If he had some time to think about it, perhaps he would have figured out that the 3 circle eyes in front of him were not living people at all, but 3 corpse puppets. Unfortunately, Nagato did not intend to give him this time. Seeing that the Hungry Ghost realm could not deal with Danzo, he simply controlled the 3 pains and launched an attack together. The Hell realm attacked head-on, the Animal realm summoned the spirit beasts to support, and the Hungry Ghost realm took advantage of every opportunity. Once they caught the opportunity to touch Danzo, they could directly form a fatal blow. Of course, things are not so absolute. Any of the 3 pains can kill Danzo if they have the opportunity. Anyway, they are just puppets, and the real controller is Nagato alone. Damn it. The 3 pains attacked together, and Danzo immediately felt it was difficult. The Hell realm was okay, because his ability was actually not suitable for fighting, but it was better for logistics. Therefore, facing the frontal attack of the Hell Realm, Danzo was not at ease, but still had some spare energy. The animal realm was very annoyed. The attacks of summoned beasts such as hell crabs, chameleons, rhinos, and hellhounds made Danzo very irritated. In terms of hard power, these summoned beasts are not very strong, but they all have their own unique abilities. For example, chameleon can adjust its color according to the conditions on the scene to achieve the effect of invisibility. Danzo was not careful for a moment and was pierced by the tongue of the chameleon. As for the hungry ghost path, Danzo didn't know why this person kept trying to contact him. Adhering to the principle that there must be something wrong when things are abnormal, Danzo tried his best to dodge and defend, and did not let the hungry ghost path touch him. The result of this was that he was bruised and battered by the summoned beasts of the animal path. He also wanted to deal with these summoned beasts first, and used several powerful wind escapes to successfully defeat several summoned beasts. Seeing that the situation was about to improve, the animal path clapped his hands and summoned new summoned beasts. Damn it. After a period of fighting, Danzo's clothes and bandages were destroyed. Judging from the blood at the corner of his mouth and his heavy breathing, his situation was very bad. Danzo also knew that he was in a very bad situation. He knew that if he continued to delay like this, he would definitely not be able to escape from the Hidden Rain village. Thinking of this, he roared to strengthen his courage, tore off some of the remaining bandages on his right hand, and completely revealed the true face of that right hand. So many Sharingans. You're really disgusting. Seeing that Danzo's right hand was inlaid with a large number of Sharingans, Nagato behind the scenes was surprised and became more and more disgusted with Danzo. God. Even if you were a real god, you can't kill me. The Sharingans on his hands gave Danzo enough confidence. In his opinion, these were not Sharingans at all, but resurrection Amoras. As long as the Sharingans were still there, he could be resurrected through his Anijin. In other words, with the 10 Sharingans on his right hand, he could be resurrected 10 times. Danzo thought that 10 resurrection opportunities were enough for him to kill the enemy and escape successfully. You rely on these disgusting Sharingan. Boring tricks, you have no chance of survival in front of God. Nagato didn't say too much nonsense to Danzo. What's the use of 10-3 Magatama Sharingan? In front of his sage's eye, these Sharingan are not good enough. The sneak attack of the summoned beast made Danzo spit out blood again. But he didn't care. With the existence of the resurrection armor, Danzo's fighting style began to become extreme. He gave up defense and attacked the animal path fiercely. Even if he was vomiting blood again by these summoned beasts, he would kill the animal path before he died. Because he was really annoyed with this guy. The summoned beasts were like free of charge. He killed one, the opponent summoned one, he killed two, the opponent summoned a pair. It was really endless. With Danzo's desperate fighting style, the scene was a little chaotic for a while. Taking advantage of this chaotic situation, Danzo found an opportunity that was not an opportunity. When the rhino behind him hit him again, he did not dodge, but stood there and let the rhino hit him. Even though he knew that he would be crushed by this hit, he was firm in his choice. I'll die, what's there to be afraid of, anyway, I can be resurrected. Nagato. Is it so awesome to be able to be resurrected? Danzo. Yes, it is so awesome to be able to be resurrected. The rhino successfully hit Danzo, and at the same time, it also allowed Danzo to close the distance with the animal path. While he still had the last breath, Danzo fired a wind escape at the animal path. Wind escape. Vacuum wave. A sharp breath like a sickle weasel spurted out of Danzo's mouth and attacked the animal path. Because the distance was too close, the animal path could not dodge and was cut in half by the wind escape. At the same time, Danzo smiled slightly and closed his eyes. Chapter 64. The Path of Beasts. What a coincidence, I can also be resurrected. Danzo fell to the ground without a sound. Hungry Ghost Road came to him and said grimly, "This is the fate of rebelling against God." After saying that, Hungry Ghost Road raised his huge fist, clearly not wanting to leave Danzo with an intact body. At this time, Danzo in front of Hungry Ghost Road began to become ethereal and soon disappeared from his sight. Before Nagato could be surprised, Danzo's voice sounded from behind Hungry Ghost Road. I said, even God can't kill me. Turning around, Danzo was standing on a roof intact. There is such a thing. Danzo. Are you stupid? I can be resurrected. Nagato was very surprised. He didn't expect Danzo to be able to be resurrected, and his state after resurrection was so good, as if the battle just now was fake. Resurrection. Interesting ability, but if we can kill you once, we can kill you a second time. You guys, Danzo looked at Hungry Ghost Road deeply, and then laughed. Ha ha ha, the most troublesome one has been killed by me. Are you sure you two can kill me? Are you talking about me? Just when Danzo thought he was stable, the indifferent voice of the animal path sounded from his side. Impossible. Looking in the direction of the voice, Danzo saw the animal path that he had just cut in half in an open space, coming out of the mouth of a hideous gleam. Animal path. Surprise, right? I can be resurrected too. You monsters. Seeing the resurrected animal path, Danzo, whose mentality was a little broken, looked very ugly. He was able to be resurrected because he consumed a Sharingan to use his Anijin. Then why was the other party able to be resurrected? Also, what is this huge gleam in front of him, and why did the person who can summon the spirit beast come out of its mouth? What a irony, you're obviously the monster. Shonen, who had arranged everything around him, returned to the battlefield and happened to hear Danzo's complaints. Monster. Danzo smiled bitterly and said, in order to protect Konoha, in order not to disappoint Mr. Tobirama, and for my own dream, even if I become a monster, what does it matter? So you don't want to be a human anymore? Yes, I haven't been a human for a long time, and you all should die. With a roar, the battle began again. This time, Danzo changed his target. Instead of attacking the animal path, he started to attack the hell path. He didn't know the principle of the animal path's resurrection. He only knew that the animal path came out of the mouth of the gleam, and the gleam was summoned by the hell path. So, if you want to prevent the circle eyes from resurrecting again, you must first kill the hell path. Wind style. Vacuum big ball. As Danzo sprayed an air cannon from his mouth, he wanted to use the same trick to get close to the hell path so that he could use the vacuum wave to turn the opponent into two. But he didn't notice that the Hungry Ghost path came to the side of the hell path at some point. The Hungry Ghost path opened his hands to the air cannon and formed a shield around himself. When the air cannon hit the shield, the Hungry Ghost Road opened its mouth and sucked the air cannon into its stomach in one breath. You can actually absorb ninjutsu chakra. His air cannon was so big, but it was absorbed by the opponent in the blink of an eye. Such a ridiculous scene made Danzo's eyes widen. At this time, he understood why the Hungry Ghost Road wanted to touch his body. Judging from the opponent's ability to absorb ninjutsu chakra, touching his body is not just to absorb the chakra from his body. Fortunately, I was smart and didn't let him touch it. Although he said so, the current situation is becoming more and more unfavorable to him. There are 3 circle-eyed people in front of him, one can summon beasts infinitely, one can absorb chakra, and the other can revive them. This is tricky. Glancing at Konan flying in the sky, Danzo felt that the Hidden Rain village must be hiding some conspiracy. Otherwise, with the abilities of these people, they would not be unknown in the ninja world. By the way, they also killed Hanzo and suppressed the news of Hanzo's death. If you say there is no conspiracy, no one will believe it. No, I have to escape as soon as possible and tell everyone that the Hidden Rain village is planning to harm the ninja world. Danzo didn't care whether the Hidden Rain village had a conspiracy to harm the ninja world. What he cared about was that he really wanted to escape this time. He no longer expected to kill any of the opponents, as long as he could escape. Thinking of this, Danzo made a seal with his hands, slapped the ground hard, and used the summoning technique to summon the strongest of the Dream Clan. Help me stop them. After saying that, Danzo started running out of the village without looking back, leaving Dream Clan alone to face Pain Sandu and Konan. Boom boom boom. Danzo didn't run far before several shells from a distance forced him to evade. When he dodged the attack and looked in the direction of the attack, he saw another circle eye appeared in front of him. Another one? Danzo admitted that he was starting to get a little scared. God's will cannot be violated, Danzo, you can't run away. As soon as the voice fell, Memgum's miserable cry sounded from behind Danzo. Then, 3 pains appeared in front of him and surrounded him. Seeing that he seemed unable to escape, Danzo gritted his teeth and prepared to start to be ruthless. Do you think you can defeat me? Don't forget, I may be resurrected. Resurrection. Just kill me a few more times. That's right. Shonen, who was flying in the sky, also echoed. I don't believe that there is no limit to your resurrection. I've been underestimated. Danzo gritted his teeth and rushed to the hell path angrily. Since he couldn't run away, he had to drag a few people down with him. Obviously, his first goal was to revive these circle-eyed hell paths. But his strength was not enough for him to do this. When he was facing 3 pains before, he just took advantage of Pain's carelessness and cut the animal path in half by exchanging one life for another. Now that Shirado has joined the ranks and can use all kinds of hot weapons, even if Danzo has used desperate fighting methods, he still has no chance to kill Jikakudo. In addition, Nagato already knows that he can be resurrected, so he can't launch a sneak attack when he is resurrected. Old man, am I going to die here? Facing the siege of the Four Paths of Pain, Danzo's resurrection coins are consumed very quickly. Every time he uses his energy, a Sharingan on his right hand closes. This phenomenon was also seen by Nagato and Konan. So you resurrected by consuming Sharingan, no wonder you have so many Sharingans embedded in your hands. It's a pity that your Sharingan has been consumed. Die, Danzo. Seeing that the 10 Sharingans have been consumed, Shirado fired a missile to directly blow Danzo's body into pieces. Danzo was successfully killed without a complete body. Konan, call someone to clean up. I understand. After dealing with Danzo, the Four Paths of Pain prepared to return to the base, and Konan also began to fly away. No one noticed that Danzo's body, which had been broken into pieces, was beginning to disappear. Wind style. Vacuum wave. Danzo, who was resurrected once again, did not waste any words and used his strongest wind style against Jikakudo. What? Jikakudo, who was unable to dodge, was instantly cut into several pieces by several wind blades. Seeing that his attack was effective, Danzo laughed wildly. After laughing for a long time, Danzo roared. I will take someone with me even if I die, and that guy has been killed by me, and you will never have a chance to revive again. Seeing Danzo's crazy face, the remaining 3 pains did not speak, but just stared at him. Konan, on the other hand, showed a look of surprise and asked, hasn't your Sharingan been used up? Why can you still be resurrected? Danzo satisfied Konan's curiosity. He took off the last bandage wrapped around his right eye, revealing an eyeball that had become blind and white. You didn't expect that I also had a Sharingan. I see, this is your last resurrection. Yes, this is my last resurrection, and at the same time, I will drag you into hell together. As soon as Danzo finished speaking, the 4 symbols seal appeared on his body. He wanted to use this mood to perish with the other party. Naive. Looking at Danzo, who activated the technique and ran towards Pain's 3 paths, the 3 guys didn't move at all, just standing there waiting for the other party to come. Whoosh! Just when Danzo was about to get close to Pain's 3 paths, a sound of breaking through the air came from a distance and hit Danzo accurately. In just a moment, Danzo's technique was held back and failed to activate. What? Danzo was shocked. Was his last resort broken by the black stick inserted in his body? He looked up unwillingly and looked in the direction of the attack. Suddenly, he saw a new circle eye floating in the sky. Damn it, how many of your circle eyes are there? Can't they all come out at once? Tendo Pain slowly landed in front of Danzo, ignoring his shouting, and took out another black stick. Knowing that he didn't want to talk to him and wanted to kill him, he didn't bother about how many circle eyes there were. The one who could revive you has been killed by me. You who can't be resurrected will definitely be killed by others in the future. I'll wait for you in hell. You talk too much nonsense. Tendo Pain gently waved his right hand, and a black stick was successfully inserted into Danzo's heart. Without the Sharingan, Danzo could not use his energy to revive. This time, he was really dead. Pain, do you want me to deal with Danzo's body? Tendo shook his head and said, the damage to Hell Road is just right for Danzo's body to be replaced. After that, he pulled Danzo into the air and returned to the base, and began to process the body in his hand. Not long after, a figure with several black nails on his face walked out of the darkness. Hellro Danzo, come to see me. Being turned into Pain, what do you think of this ending of Danzo in Konoha's 61st year? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 65. 1 month later, just when everyone in the ninja world was trying to find Danzo and wanted to kill him for a generous bounty, he died quietly in a hidden rain village. Nagato blocked the news, so the news of Danzo's death has never been spread. The third Hokage and the fifth Jiraiya are still wondering, since Danzo ran out of Konoha village, there has been no news. They thought that Danzo would definitely do something to retaliate, and they were fully prepared, just waiting for Danzo to show up. Unfortunately, until the official inventory was opened a month later, Danzo did not appear again. Today is the day of the fifth official inventory. In the extra video half a month ago, because Tobirama and the Third Hokage did not raise any questions, Lin Tian simply shot a food video, which opens the eyes of the people in Konoha village into time and space. After watching the video, the leaders of the two villages spontaneously assigned that task of replicating the various delicacies that appeared in the video to the people around them. They also want to try what these delicious-looking foods taste like. In this way, while Tobirama and Orochimaru were busy with research and the others were busy replicating the delicacies, another half-month passed and it was today. In Tobirama's office, before it was 8 o'clock, Tobirama took the time to look through the experimental data in his hand again. "Teacher, have you made any breakthroughs in the experiment?" Because Kagami and Hiruzen had to go to the Land of Fire to protect the daimyo, they didn't know what level their teacher's research had reached. Seeing that Tobirama was looking at the experimental data, they couldn't help but come forward. That's right, combined with the information given by Orochimaru, in this month, not only has the cloning technology made some breakthroughs, but even the research on the white Zetsu has made some key progress. Tobirama replied, and then handed the information in his hand to Hiruzen and Kagami. Orochimaru is indeed a rare research talent. If I exchange experimental results with him a few more times, I have the confidence that I can completely break through the cloning technology within half a year. As expected of a teacher, it's really amazing. Kagami and Hiruzen looked at the experimental data in their hands, and the more they looked, the more surprised they were. They couldn't understand the detailed data, but they could understand the process and summary of the experiment. In such a short time, Tobirama was able to perfectly clone the mice, and according to observation, there was no sequelae. It must be said that this was really amazing. White Zetsu was very interesting. At this point, Tobirama continued with a slightly solemn expression. "I actually found the cells of my elder brother in his body." "What?" "White Zetsu has the cells of the first generation." Hearing this, everyone present was very surprised. Through the live screen and the retelling of others, they knew how terrible Hashirama's cells were. In the Konoha period 40 years later, countless people died in the study of Hashirama's cells, and only then did they come up with a low-quality version of wood release. White Zetsu said that they have many similar beings. Yes, after being captured, White Zetsu was particularly obedient, without any resistance. Not only did he cooperate with Tobirama's research throughout the process, but he also told him everything he knew and he asked him about things. This also let Tobirama know that White Zetsu was not 1, 2, 3 or 4, but a group. A group of White Zetsu with Hashirama cells, even if they're weak, is a very terrifying force. Not to mention that White Zetsu has a latent ability that is hard to guard against. If it weren't for the transmission function of the light curtain, Tobirama would not have known that he had such a thing on him. Fortunately, the existence of White Zetsu was not entirely bad news. At least, the cells of the eldest brother have weakened a little in his body. When the cloning technology is fully mature, I can extract the cells of the eldest brother from him and clone a body of the eldest brother. Of course, the cloned body will definitely be much weaker than the original body of Senju Hashirama. Fortunately, Tobirama also has the means to make up for this weakness. In short, facing the threat of Uchiha Madara, Tobirama will have to wait until the eldest brother is resurrected before confronting him head-on. Now, just pretend that you don't know anything and try your best to delay time. I don't know who the person counted today is. In the 61st year of Konoha, in the office of the 5th generation Jiraiya, 2 new people came here. They are Orochimaru's disciple, Uchiha Sasuke, and the 5th generation Jiraiya's disciple, Uzumaki Naruto. Lecturer Sage, Third Hokage, why did you call me here so late? And why is Sasuke here too? As soon as he entered the office, Uzumaki Naruto started chattering non-stop, annoying Jiraiya. Sasuke was much better. He was originally cold, and became even colder after becoming Orochimaru's disciple. Unless necessary, he usually doesn't speak. First, he wants to maintain his cold personality. Second, with the presence of Uzumaki Naruto in Team 7, he doesn't need to speak if he wants to know something, Naruto will help him ask the questions. Just like what happened just now. Sasuke was also very curious about why Orochimaru called him here. When he saw Jiraiya and the Third Hokage in the office, he became even more curious. Since the two of you have become disciples of Orochimaru and me, you are also qualified to know some things in the village. In fact, this is just one of the reasons why the 5th Hokage Jiraiya and Orochimaru asked the two of them to come here. There is another more important reason, which is that the light curtain revealed that Naruto and Sasuke will have a higher status than Orochimaru in the future. These two people don't look like scientific researchers at first glance. so the reason why they have a higher status than Orochimaru is probably because of their strength. Since in a world without light curtains, both of them can grow to be stronger than Orochimaru. Then in this world, if they train the two in advance, will they have a chance to be stronger than they were originally? Naruto, Sasuke, don't shout and scream later, just watch quietly. After saying that, Jiraiya Godami looked straight at Naruto. Obviously, he was actually talking to Naruto. What do you mean, lecherous sage? Hearing this, Naruto was not happy. Jiraiya Godami was clearly looking down on him. Look, aren't you shouting and screaming now? Naruto was speechless and could only cross his arms and start to sulk. Seeing this, Jiraiya the 5th generation shook his head and turned to the 3rd generation Hokage and said, "Old man, Tsunade still doesn't want to come back. Orochimaru has returned to Konoha, and Jiraiya the 5th generation certainly wants Tsunade to come back." After he became the 5th generation Hokage, he and the 3rd generation Hokage sent out the Anbu to look for Tsunade. They just happened to find Tsunade's trace some time ago, but the result was not very ideal. Tsunade doesn't want to come back. Yes. Speaking of Tsunade, the 3rd generation Hokage's face was full of bitterness. He thought that if he had agreed to Tsunade's medical reform proposal, then Kato-dan and Nawaki might not have died, and she would not be so disappointed with the village, and would rather live outside the village than come back. Well, it seems that I have to go and ask him in person. Hearing this, the 3rd generation Hokage looked at Jiraiya strangely. He didn't know where Jiraiya got the confidence to think that if he went to find Tsunade, Tsunade would come back obediently. You are the current Hokage of your village, it is not suitable for you to leave the village, so let me go. After taking a puff of cigarette, the 3rd Hokage made a decision. Old man, I have made up my mind, so don't say anything else. Okay. Chapter 66 5th issue review. At 8 o'clock, the light curtain appeared in the Hokage's office on time. When he saw the light curtain appear, Uzumaki Naruto subconsciously wanted to scream. Coincidentally, at this time he saw the 5th generation Jiraiya looking at him with a teasing look. In order not to be looked down upon by the lecherous sage, Naruto immediately covered his mouth with both hands and held back the desire to scream. Hi, dear audience, hello, I'm the new Lin Tian. The feedback from the audience about Danzo in the last issue was a big tour, and the number of fans also dropped a lot. So, in order to win back the audience, this time we will discuss a very popular character in Naruto. This character is the 4th generation Hokage of Konoha village, named Hokage Minato. In Tobirama's office, when they heard that the character being reviewed was the 4th generation Hokage, everyone in the office became interested. Named Hokage Minato, he seems to be a ninja who can use Flying Thunder God better than the teacher. The last time he traveled to Konoha in the 61st year, after Danzo introduced his energy to the 5th generation Jiraiya and the 3rd generation Hokage, he also learned from them about the development process of the village in the past few decades. Among them, the one that two talked about the most was named Hokage Minato. He used the Flying Thunder God technique to perfection. If Minato didn't die, the Uchiha clan would not be exterminated. And so on. These words successfully made Danzo curious about Minato. It happened that the character in this issue was named Hokage Minato, which could satisfy Danzo's curiosity. Danzo, who was in a good mood, subconsciously said the above sentence. You said he is better than me at using Flying Thunder God. Seeing Senju Tobirama's slightly unhappy look, Danzo finally reacted and realized that he seemed to be in trouble. After so many things happened, he still didn't give up on the position of the 3rd Hokage. He usually tried his best to please Senju Tobirama. He couldn't let her work ruin his efforts. Didn't the light curtain say that I was a scapegoat? This time, I'll let you see how I passed the buck. Thinking of this, Danzo immediately replied. That's not what I said, it was that old monkey and old Jiraiya who said it. The 3rd Hokage did say something similar, but he didn't directly say that Minato's Flying Thunder God was stronger than the 2nd Hokage. The sentence just now was purely added by Danzo himself. Tobirama didn't know this. After hearing Danzo's words of passing the buck, he nodded and believed the other party. The 5th Jiraiya's office. When he saw that the person to be counted on the light curtain was named Hokage Minato, he and the 3rd Hokage subconsciously glanced at Uzumaki Naruto who was still covering his mouth. The behavior of the two made Sasuke feel very strange. Could it be that Naruto has something to do with this 4th Hokage? He turned to look at Orochimaru, hoping to hear the answer from his cheap teacher. Unexpectedly, Orochimaru did not answer Sasuke, but smiled with interest. Seeing that he could not get an answer from Orochimaru, Sasuke turned his eyes to the light curtain. In the early days of the work, Minato Namikaze was undoubtedly a mysterious ninja. There is not much information about him, and we only know that he is a disciple of Jiraiya. Little Jiraiya. He will be my disciple. The Namikaze family has always been a mystery. Naruto has been completed, but the author has not filled this hole. So combined with the overall plot of Naruto and the second-year spirit of Minato's name, it is estimated that Minato is not a so-called Namikaze clan. It should be that when he was hanging out with Jiraiya, he gave himself a name like Namikaze Explosion Flood Whirlpool Leap Dragon Gate Oripai. Perhaps because it was too redundant, it was shortened to the easier-to-pronounce Namikaze Minato. Of course, the parody is not nonsense, and the adaptation is not random. The Namikaze clan emblem has appeared in the play, but it is only limited to the back of Namikaze Menma's clothes in the movie, Rope to Ninja. The online Namikaze clan is good at time and space ninjutsu, which is also made up by imagination and cannot be taken seriously. So there is no need to analyze the Namikaze clan too much, it is not very meaningful. Hiruzen, is there a Namikaze clan in the village? Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was called by Tobirama, thought for a while and replied, as far as I know, there should be no. What about you? Does anyone know the Namikaze clan? Everyone shook their heads and said they didn't know. Tobirama sighed in disappointment. If there really is such a clan, he can directly skip Sarutobi Hiruzen and train Namikaze Minato to be the third-generation Hokage. After watching the video of the inventory of Sarutobi Hiruzen, it is impossible for Tobirama to say that he has no grudge against this disciple. Who said that he is the only one in the village who is most suitable to take over his position? Danzo, whether before or after the light curtain appeared, he was not suitable to be Hokage. Fortunately, cloning technology has made a major breakthrough recently. As long as he is not dead, Sarutobi Hiruzen will always be his disciple. Want to be the third Hokage? Wait until he completely solves the threat of Madara. Coincidentally, the third Hokage also asked the fifth-generation Jiraiya about the surname of Namikaze Minato. Old man, you're sick, right? You checked Minato's identity and background thoroughly back then. You know better than me whether there is a Namikaze clan in the village. The fifth-generation Jiraiya was right. Do you really think that anyone can be his disciple? Long before he became his apprentice, the third-generation Hokage had already investigated Minato's background very clearly and knew that he was a very talented civilian ninja. As for the surname Namikaze, it may be that his ancestors were rich and then declined. That's right, I'm old and confused. The third-generation Hokage smiled awkwardly and looked at the light curtain again. Sasuke in the back row ignored the conversation between the two. He looked at the image of Minato Namikaze on the screen, then turned to look at Uzumaki Naruto, and seemed to be thinking about something. Looking at Sasuke, who seemed to be thinking about something, Orochimaru was very satisfied with this disciple. Smart, hard-working, studious. A true genius. He was really looking forward to Sasuke's growth. Since childhood, Minato knew that the position of Hokage could be rotated. He then aspired to become a Hokage and a trendsetter in troubled times with a spirit of devotion to the country. This ambitious young man had another thing that concerned him, that is, Uzumaki Kushina, the reserve Jinchuriki who had just arrived in Konoha. When the two first met in class, Minato was attracted by Kushina's red hair. Minato. Oh, this red-haired woman is damn sweet. But Kushina didn't think highly of him from the beginning, and even thought that the yellow-haired man in front of him was a sissy. But it's not a big deal if I can't get the girl's favor for a while. A real domineering CEO will always have the opportunity to let the woman he loves take over his fish pond. Jiraiya, Minato is worthy at being your disciple. He has been as lustful as you since he was a child. Orochimaru, if you can't speak, don't speak. The fifth-generation Jiraiya didn't expect that Orochimaru, who had been silent since returning to the village, would mock him here. Also, shouldn't someone say the word lustful? Your line is clearly the word idiot. Orochimaru, your character is ruined. 05205. Chapter 67 The Fate of Hokage. Not long after, Komugaku saw that Kushina had the physique to be a Jinchuriki, so they arranged for 3 powerful Komugaku ninjas to kidnap her. That's ridiculous. Does Komugaku have this ability? Seeing the 3 ninjas wearing Komugaku forehead protectors chasing Kushina on the screen, Tobirama couldn't help but sneer. Yes, even if Konoha was weak at the time, it would not be so easy for the Komugaku ninjas to infiltrate, let alone kidnap the Jinchuriki. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought that Tobirama was right. If a ninja village can be infiltrated so easily by ninjas from other villages, what is the point of having a gatekeeper, and what is the point of sensing the barrier? I think the Third Hokage's purpose should be to take advantage of the situation and take advantage of this great opportunity to let Minato Namikaze and the Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki establish a bond. That should be it. Tobirama thought about it with the mind of a Hokage and agreed with Hiruzen's words. Next, we should let Minato rescue Kushina. As expected, Lin Tian continued as soon as Tobirama finished speaking. This is a great opportunity for Kushina to change her feelings towards him, so Minato will certainly not let it go. He successfully caught up with Kushina by relying on the red hair that Kushina left as a mark along the way. He also killed the 3 Kumo ninjas in an instant, performing a macho man saving a beauty drama. Hectares, it turns out to be this routine. Hiruzen was very happy that he guessed the intention of the Third Hokage correctly. This indirectly shows that he now has the thinking of a Hokage. Danzo on the side saw Hiruzen laughing foolishly, and curled his lips in dissatisfaction. He secretly hated himself for not thinking of this. Danzo. Am I really not suitable to be a Hokage? Old man, did you arrange it this way on purpose? Jiraiya the 5th generation looked at the heroic figure of his disciple on the light curtain and asked the 3rd generation Hokage, isn't this intention a little too obvious? It was indeed obvious. What kind of cloud ninja could sneak into Konoha without anyone noticing? It must be a very powerful ninja to be able to do it. The 3 cloud ninjas on the light curtain are most likely either Chunin or Genin, and there is no way there is a Genin. Otherwise, the 3 of them would not have been killed instantly by Minato, who had just graduated from the ninja school. But in this case, the logic is a bit unreasonable. How did 3 such scumbag cloud ninjas sneak into Konoha and deceive the younger ninjas who were protecting Kushina and tied her up? Don't care if it's obvious or not, just tell me if this trick is useful. The 3rd generation Hokage did not deny it. Although his trick of taking advantage of the situation and going with the flow was simple, it did achieve the result he wanted. The old ones are still the best. On the light curtain, Lin Tian also expressed his opinion on this incident. This matter is ridiculous. Apart from other things, the ninjas that Kumogaku arranged to go to Konoha to kidnap people are at least Chunin or Anbu. With Minato's strength as a graduating student, it should be impossible for him to defeat these 3 Kumogaku ninjas, not to mention that he killed them instantly. Minato's actions clearly show that the real powerful people do not become powerful at a certain stage, but have been powerful since childhood. Kushina, who was quite arrogant before, has become dependent on Minato since she was rescued by Minato. Minato also publicized in Konoha that Kushina is his woman, and you stinky tomatoes and rotten eggs, it is best not to have any ideas about Kushina. At this point, the domineering President Minato directly scored a perfect score to capture Kushina. My future disciple seems to be very good at chasing girls. Little Jiraiya looked at Minato who had won the beauty on the light screen, and his tone was full of envy and jealousy. Envy that he can be with the person he likes. At the same time, he was jealous of his success in saving the beauty. Last month, Jiraiya asked Orochimaru for help, asking him to disguise himself and harass Tsunade, playing a hero saving the beauty. At the time, he had a good idea. When Tsunade was in danger and at a loss, Jiraiya made a brilliant appearance and beat away the gangsters who wanted to attack Tsunade in no time. In this way, after seeing his manly appearance, Tsunade would definitely look at him with new eyes and fall in love with him. Little Jiraiya had a good idea, but the final result was a little biased. At the time, little Tsunade lost money and was already full of anger. Orochimaru, who happened to have changed his appearance, jumped out and kicked Orochimaru unconscious with a painful kick. Little Jiraiya, who was running from a distance, thought that things were going well and ran over happily. As a result, he saw that Tsunade was standing there unhappy, while Orochimaru was lying on the ground. That is to say, Tsunade didn't think much at the time, otherwise Jiraiya would have broken several ribs. Sighing, little Jiraiya turned his head and looked at Tsunade with deep affection. He swore that no matter what means he used, he must win Tsunade's heart. Maybe the look in little Jiraiya's eyes was too hot. Tsunade felt it and looked at Jiraiya, and immediately got goosebumps all over her body. Jiraiya, what's that look in your eyes? Don't you know it's disgusting? After saying that, little Tsunade showed her fist to little Jiraiya. What she meant was, if you dare to look at me like this again, be careful that I will help you stretch your muscles afterwards. For the sake of his own life, little Jiraiya smiled embarrassedly and looked at the light curtain again. As time went by, Minato became a guiding genin and led 3 subordinates. They are Nohara Rin, Uchiha Obito, and Hitaki Kakashi. I didn't expect that the instigator of the Nine-Tails Rebellion mentioned in the previous issues of the Light Curtain was actually the student of the Fourth Hokage. Tobirama didn't know at the time that Obito was the subordinate of the Fourth Hokage. Now that he knows this, he suddenly has a very strange idea. If there was no intervention of the Light Curtain, the Third Hokage would have died at the hands of his disciple Orochimaru. The Fourth Hokage also died at the hands of his students. And he, the Second Hokage, although he did not die directly at the hands of his disciples, but died at the hands of the cloud-hidden ninja King Kaku and Ginkaku. But that was to cover the retreat of the 6 disciples, so he died. If there were no 6 disciples, he would not have to cover them, and he would not have to die. He also died indirectly at the hands of his disciples. In this way, it seems that the position of Hokage cannot accept disciples. Once accepted, it means death. It's like fate. Thinking of this, Tobirama made a decision. If the 5th and 6th generations of Hokage also died directly or indirectly at the hands of their disciples, then he would have to add a rule. That is, if you want to be Hokage, you can't have a disciple. What, you said Tobirama can't be so superstitious? Haha, it doesn't cost money anyway, just believe it. Chapter 68 Namikaze Minato vs AB Brothers. When he was the instructor of the Jonin, Minato was highly regarded by the Third Hokage and often went out to perform confidential missions. In particular, after Minato conquered Konoha's designated Nine-Tails Jinchuriki Kushina from the inside out, it was equivalent to mastering Konoha's nuclear weapons. In addition, he was once a disciple of Jiraiya. As long as Minato was strong enough, qualified, and old enough, he could be the Hokage in one step. So, all Minato needed was to be stable and wait for time to pass. It seems that you, old man, never thought of letting me be the Hokage from the beginning to the end. Orochimaru said something out of the blue, which embarrassed the Third Hokage. Don't say that, Orochimaru. After taking a puff of cigarette and adjusting his mood, the Third Hokage continued, in fact, you and Minato had a 50-50 chance at the beginning. I won't favor either side. Either of you can become Hokage. It's just that when I found out that you and Danzo were involved into so many inappropriate experiments, for the sake of the village, I began to favor Minato. Orochimaru laughed and didn't respond. He didn't really care about who was Hokage or not. He just cared about his beloved teacher, who supported Minato instead of himself. This feeling was like the original wife finding a mistress behind the back of the owner, which made him very unhappy. But it had been so many years since the incident, and he had become indifferent. Now it's good. He has plenty of time to do experiments and can openly train his genius disciple. He is content. As for whether the truth of the year was as the Third Hokage said, he was too lazy to explore. Soon, Minato had another opportunity. The reason is that the ninja world has been in constant war for many years, and the drums of war never stop, and there are dust everywhere. After the first war, the second war comes, and the second war is not enough, the third war continues. Just like playing mahjong, one after another, the countries have repeatedly seized resources like leagues. The fire country is vast and rich in resources, and the girls are pretty, which has led to other forces eating the lemons of the fire country, and they are so sour. Haha, Lin Tian said it very vividly. Hiruzen laughed at the side, and even Tobirama couldn't help laughing. Isn't it true? Compared with other countries, the resources of the fire country are indeed very rich, and the scenery is pleasant all year round. It's just that the location is not very good. It is in the center of the ninja world and is a place of 4 wars. Fortunately, Konoha is strong enough and can win every ninja world war. Otherwise, such a unique geographical location would probably be taken away by other countries. Under this circumstance, the Konoha ninjas, as the military force of the Land of Fire, were surrounded by enemies and felt very uncomfortable. Under this circumstance, a blue man named Minato Namikaze went to the battlefield with a kunai and a song. It is strange that the masters on the battlefield attracted each other like stand users, and Minato encountered an equally matched opponent, the brothers Abi from the Hidden Cloud Village. Among them, A is the son of the third generation Raikage who will succeed the position of Raikage. B is the younger brother and the Eight-Tails Jinchuriki. Another reckless man from the Hidden Cloud Village. Tobirama was very dissatisfied with the village of Hidden Cloud Village. Not to mention that he died in the hands of the other party in history, and according to the light screen, the other party later went to war with Konoha. What a disgusting village. Teacher, do you want to find something for the Hidden Cloud Village? Seeing that Tobirama's face was not right, Danzo immediately came up with an idea. As for what to find? Isn't that easy? intercepting the other party's mission, spreading rumors about the other party, and slandering the other party's character. Isn't this kind of despicable thing exactly what Danzo is good at? Tobirama looked at the confident Danzo, thought about it, and shook his head. Forget it. Now that the ninja world is calm, we should not stir up trouble again. Okay, teacher. Danzo was still a little unwilling. Externally, the Hidden Cloud Village paid a large amount of materials and money to Konoha, resulting in a very bad financial situation for the village. Internally, the Third Hokage had just taken the throne not long ago, and it would take time to clean up the stubborn elements during the Second Hokage period. This time point is really a godsend opportunity to deal with the Hidden Cloud Village. Unfortunately, Teacher Tobirama did not allow it. Danzo. Perhaps seeing Danzo's slightly unwilling heart, Tobirama explained to him. Don't forget, Uchiha Madara is still hiding somewhere and staring at us covetously. Hearing this, Danzo reacted immediately. Indeed, with the existence of Uchiha Madara, what the village needs most at the moment is time to develop. Although the Hidden Cloud Village is at its weakest in history, it is still one of the 5 major ninja villages. Facing Konoha's troubles, they will definitely fight back. After a few back and forth, they will always tie up some people in the village. Under the premise of not destroying the Hidden Cloud Village, it is really meaningless to do some small actions. It is better to seize the time to develop. Do you understand now? Yes, teacher, I understand. Just when the two ninjas met on a narrow road, the yellow hair and the swift instant body technique made A immediately discover Minato's identity. A's subordinates also began to shout, if not now, when will they run? I was not panicked after hearing this, and said to Minato, little brother, you are the Konoha yellow flash that suddenly became popular, right? Minato saw that the other side had a good eye, so he replied, you are the son of the 3rd generation Hokage, right? I heard that you were a fast boy. As soon as the voice fell, the two sides were ready to fight without a word. Minato was not at all intimidated, he scattered kunai around him like it was free, and told his subordinates to stay where they were and not get involved in the battle. Then, A, wrapped in the lightning armor, flashed to attack Minato. Minato reacted at the speed of light, threw a kunai in the air, and used Flying Thunder God to teleport to the kunai that was previously inserted in the tree to avoid the attack, and then teleported behind A, picked up the kunai that was previously thrown into the air, and prepared to do a sexy backstab. Although the iron-headed boy A had reacted at this time, his body could not keep up with his brain, and his fists were hit in vain. Seeing that the situation was not right, B threw out an octopus leg that cost 998 to separate Minato and A. Minato was suddenly confused, transformed into a seafood chef, and served octopus sashimi on the spot. Minato. Cut a nose hair of Cthulhu for everyone, the audience who likes it, quickly collect the tickets, only. The 4th Hokage's Flying Thunder God technique is quite good. Looking at the scene of Minato fighting A on the screen, Tobirama seemed a little surprised. He knew that the 4th Hokage knew the Flying Thunder God technique he invented. But he didn't know that the 4th Hokage could use the Flying Thunder God technique so well. He was almost catching up with himself. Minato. If it weren't for the fact that you are the 2nd Hokage and the creator of Flying Thunder God, I would have to say to you, shameless. 05205. Chapter 69. 12-year-old genius Jinin. The action of B saving A exposed his identity as the 8-tailed Jinchuriki. Inuzuka Aru and Minato's team found that the other side had the 8-tailed Jinchuriki and felt that it was not appropriate to stay here for long. So everyone except Minato retreated, and Minato was the last. When he was the last, Minato admired Killer B's strength, and saw through the precious things that B had, and immediately turned on the domineering CEO mode to enlighten AI. But AI, who was a hard-headed man, did not understand the meaning of Minato's words and rushed forward directly. However, AI was still a little cautious in this wave. He took in all the kunai that Minato had inserted around him and was ready to counterattack at any time. But something unexpected happened. Minato teleported behind B and said, "Old Iron, are you stupid? My Flying Thunder God technique can be set up everywhere and it will not fail." At this time, AI had already rushed out of the battle range, and his fists were hammered in vain, and he was directly eliminated. Minato, who teleported behind Hai, did not gain an advantage. Because Hai's knife was also ready, and not far from Minato's waist. If nothing unexpected happens, one will be hit in the waist and the other will be shot in the head. The final result is that Minato, for the sake of a happy life in the future, the two sides ended in a draw. Great, the 4th Hokage is so great. Looking at the 4th Hokage fighting two people on the screen, Naruto couldn't help but shout out. When he finished saying this, he remembered that he seemed to be unable to speak, otherwise he would be looked down upon by the lecherous sage. Thinking of this, he immediately covered his mouth with his hand. Naruto's stupidity made the fifth Jiraiya a little tired, and he also blamed himself. He blamed himself for ignoring Naruto in order to find that child of destiny all these years, which led to his current state. Fortunately, it is not too late now. I believe that after being taught by the Toad Sage Jiraiya, he will definitely become a reliable person. Kushina. Really? I don't believe it. The fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze? He's pretty good. Tobirama also commented on Minato Namikaze's strength. Although the battle shown on the light screen was short, it was enough for Tobirama to understand Minato's strength. Apart from anything else, he was really good at using the Flying Thunder God technique. On the surface, Minato's Flying Thunder God technique requires the assistance of kunai with the technique imprinted on it. As long as these kunai are destroyed, the Flying Thunder God technique will be almost useless. When the opponent understands this and puts all his energy on the technique kunai, he will fall into his trap. Because Minato can also imprint the technique on the spot. From the live screen, it can be seen that Minato imprinted the technique on the squid tentacles of the eight tails. In general, the Flying Thunder God technique in Minato's hands is better than the original. Tobirama also admits this in his heart. But he will not show it. He is the second Hokage, the creator of the Flying Thunder God technique, and he also has to save face. Speaking of which, the Hidden Cloud Village sent the Raikage's son and the Eight-Tailed Jinchuriki to the battlefield, but the village only sent Minato Namikaze. Where were Orochimaru, Tsunade, Jiraiya and the others? Was the situation so bad that they couldn't send other experts to support them? If Tobirama was looking at Minato's personal strength, then Sarutobi Hiruzen was looking at the situation in the ninja world at the time. Through the light curtain, they knew that Konoha still had powerful ninjas like the three ninjas. The emergence of the AB combination also indicated that the Hidden Cloud Village had invested a large number of combat forces. In comparison, the combat forces invested by Konoha were a little bit inferior. If it weren't for Minato Namikaze's personal efforts to turn the tide, the Hidden Cloud Village would have lost the battle line. Perhaps, it was because of Minato's wonderful performance in this battle that he became Hokage afterwards. However, the war was not over yet. Konoha, which was already under attack from many sides, was also attacked by Waigaku, resulting in an unprecedented lack of combat power. Hiruzen. As expected, Konoha was under attack from many sides. The Konoha superior ordered Minato Namikaze to lead Hatake Kakashi, Rin Nohara, and Obito Uchiha to blow up the enemy's supply route, the Konmubai Bridge. Kakashi, who was 12 years old, was promoted to a Jonin, and everyone went to the battlefield. A 12-year-old Jonin. This is a bit outrageous. Yes, even in wartime, becoming a Jonin at the age of 12 is indeed outrageous. In the Tobirama office, everyone took a breath of cold air when they saw the age of Kakashi when he became a Jonin. What does 12 years old mean? As a classmate of the same class, you have just graduated from the ninja school and become a Jonin, while others are already Jonin. This gap is not small. I remember that when counting the third generation Hokage, Guanyu also teased the third generation Hokage as a little Kakashi. This shows that Kakashi is a powerful ninja, otherwise he would not be teased by Guanyu. It's just a little puzzling. In the middle and back rows of the office, Tofu, Kahara and others were also discussing Kakashi. Kakashi was able to become a Jonin at the age of 12, so his attitude must be good. Even after the death of the fourth Hokage, Kakashi, who had grown up for several years, why didn't he become the fifth Hokage, but Hiruzen came out to rule Konoha again? Hearing what Tofu said, Yan nodded and continued, so this is very unreasonable. Either Hiruzen, who has enjoyed the taste of power, wants to take power again, or Kakashi has a problem in his future growth. I just don't know which one it is. Then continue to look at the light screen, it should explain it. Little Jiraiya and the others were also shocked by the fact that he became a Jonin at the age of 12. Little Tsunade also used this matter to mock Little Jiraiya, saying that he was not as good as his own student. Little Jiraiya blushed and was very embarrassed. Kakashi, what a pity. Tobirama and the others didn't know about Kakashi's growth trajectory, but the people on the fifth Jiraiya's side, except Sasuke and Naruto, all knew about it. It's a pity indeed. If it weren't for Obito's Sharingan, his strength would be even stronger. As we all know, people without Uchiha blood will not be able to exit the Sharingan state after possessing it, and will be in the open state at all times. If one's own chakra is huge, such as the Uzumaki clan, the side effects may not be so great. But Itachi Kakashi's chakra is small to begin with, and with the Sharingan, a large chakra consumer, this has led to a stage where his strength should have improved by leaps and bounds, but because of the Sharingan, the improvement in his strength is minimal. They also think about it from time to time. If Kakashi didn't have the Sharingan, according to normal development, would his strength be stronger than his father Itachi Sakamo? Unfortunately, they can only think about it. Chapter 70. Kanabi Bridge or Okimura, what happened to Kakashi later? Why did he have the Sharingan from my Uchiha family? As a member of Kakashi's team, Sasuke also looked for some information after knowing that Kakashi had the Sharingan. However, these information only let him know that Kakashi was a very talented ninja, who became a Chunin at the age of 6 and a Jonin at the age of 12. In addition, he could not find the Sharingan issue that he was most concerned about in the information. Don't worry, Sasuke-kun, let's see if the light curtain can give an answer first. Okay, if the light curtain doesn't give me an answer, then you have to tell me. No problem. Sasuke knew more or less about Kakashi's affairs by looking up information. But Naruto didn't know anything at all. He only knew that Kakashi was a Chunin, their guiding Chunin, and he didn't know anything else. After all, Naruto was not Sasuke. It would be more practical to let him sleep at home than to ask him to find information to understand his guiding Chunin. I didn't expect Kakashi-sensei to be so powerful. A 12-year-old Chunin is really strong. After saying that, Naruto covered his mouth again. Seeing Naruto making a fool of himself again, Jiraiya the 5th generation sighed and said, "You don't have to cover your mouth." "No, if I don't cover it, I'm afraid I can't help talking." "You're covering your mouth now, aren't you still talking?" "That's right." Naruto felt that what Jiraiya the 5th generation said made sense, so he stopped covering his mouth. Before leaving, Minato gave Kakashi a kunai with the Flying Thunder God mark. Soon after arriving at the front line, Minato's team experienced a small-scale battle. Because Kakashi was eager to show the power of his Raikiri, he was unable to fight the enemy on equal terms and was slightly inferior. Fortunately, Minato rescued Kakashi in time, and while placing Kakashi, Minato's Flying Thunder God mark was also set on the enemy. Then, he put down his backpack and entered combat mode. Before the bag even hit the ground, the enemy was already considered dead. However, Minato was not in a hurry to kill the rock ninja next to him. The rock ninja was shocked when he saw Minato's yellow hair and agile body movements. "Masaka, the yellow hair flashed Konoha." The boss said that if you see him, you should run away immediately. I finally understand what he meant. Well, this person's story tells us that some people may only take a second to understand something, while others may have to sacrifice their lives. After Minato killed the enemy, he spent a night and left the team to go to the front battlefield. If nothing unexpected happens, something unexpected will happen. "Teacher, why do you say that?" Looking at the light curtain, Tobirama looked confident and said, "I just used the thinking of literary creation to think about the next development." At this point, Tobirama looked around at his disciples and continued, "You all know that in the eyes of the light curtain, we are just characters in a literary work called Naruto. Since it is a literary work, the ups and downs of the plot are what the audience likes to watch the most." After hearing this, everyone couldn't help but nodded. Sure enough, after Tobirama finished speaking, the scene of Kakashi and his team being attacked appeared on the light curtain. Tobirama. "Look, I'm right." After Minato left, Kakashi's team was in danger behind the enemy, and Obito was killed. After Minato completed the task, he returned to the team with the kunai Flying Thunder God given to Kakashi, saved Kakashi and Rin, and learned about Obito's death. Of course, what these three people didn't know was that Obito had been rescued by Uchiha Madara. Or Okimura. Uchiha Madara? Sasuke. Kakashi's Sharingan, is this called Obito? Seeing this, Okimura seemed a little excited. This is Uchiha Madara, the Shura of the ninja world, who is as famous as the first Hokage Senju Hashirama. Okimura looked at the 5th Hokage Jiraiya and the 3rd Hokage, who looked normal, and asked, "Are you hiding something from me?" "I will tell you about this later." The reason why the 5th Hokage Jiraiya was not surprised that Uchiha Madara was still alive was because the 3rd Hokage told him privately about the 3rd episode inventory video. The video inventory of that episode let the 3rd Hokage know that Obito was saved by Madara, and later gave Konoha a Nine-Tails gift bag, killed Minato and his wife, and was the main culprit for Naruto becoming an orphan. Okimura is not a Hokage, so the 3rd Hokage did not tell him these things. Sasuke on the side was not as excited as Okimura. Sasuke, who had not experienced that era, did not know what the name Madara meant. What he cares about most is whether this Uchiha named Obito is still alive. If he is still alive, then he is not the only Uchiha besides that beast. He even wants to find him and rebuild the glory of Uchiha with him. It can be seen that Obito still cherishes his companions. Before he died, he gave the Sharingan to Kakashi. Sarutobi Hiruzen could see that at the time, Obito must have hoped to use the Sharingan to enhance Kakashi's strength so that they could break through the siege and light well. A good boy. I just don't know how Madara deceived Obito and made him hate Konoha and Minato, and wanted to use the power of the Nine Tails to destroy the village. There are only a few ways. As the person who knows Uchiha best, Tobirama instantly thought of several ways to make Obito fall into darkness. According to the light curtain and the actual situation, it is most likely to frame and kill teammates, so that Obito will fall into despair. Come to think of it, could it be because of that girl named Nohara? Kagami, who had awakened the Mangekyo and experienced that kind of despair, also gave his own opinion. If Obito really liked that girl, he would have killed her in front of him and then put the blame on Konoha. Then some of Obito's later actions would make sense. Well, that's probably the case. This rescue showed Minato's strength. The number of enemies at the time was at least in the double digits, and each of them had a face that was 50-50 with Kakashi. Although the specific battle process was not described, Kakashi's kidneys were overdrawn, and Rin's combat power as a medic was insufficient. In other words, before Kakashi fell, he killed at most a single-digit number of enemies with Raikiri. So Minato was not in full condition after fighting in the front, and he just returned to the team and encountered a situation where the enemy was outnumbered. Even a master would feel exhausted. And in the end, Minato still killed everyone and saved his two subordinates. Especially after the battle, Kakashi was stunned when he saw Minato after waking up. Minato's face didn't even show the slightest sign of fatigue from the battle, and he was truly a battlefield harvester. Naruto. The fourth Hokage is so handsome. Chapter 71 The Big Pit in the Door. After that, Minato, Kakashi and Rin destroyed the canopy bridge together, giving Konoha a chance of victory. Unfortunately, not long after the Battle of Canopy Bridge, Rin was killed by Uchiha Madara. Kakashi was the only one left among Minato's subordinates. Tobirama. As I expected, Madara used Nohara Rin and let Obito witness her death. While Obito successfully awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan, he also brought him into the abyss. Watching the light screen, Nohara Rin was stabbed to death by Kakashi through the chest, and Obito successfully awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan. Tobirama's understanding of the Uchiha clan deepened a lot. At the time, he only knew that the Uchiha bloodline had problems. After the establishment of Konoha, after his research, he knew that the Sharingan needed a lot of negative emotions to stimulate it to advance. Under such stimulation, the Uchiha clan members who advanced often changed their temperaments. However, it may be that he has only advanced to the 3 Magatama. Such people will often recover through time and guidance from others. As long as he is not stimulated, he will be like a normal person. Some time ago, Jin awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan, and his evil and wild appearance left a deep impression on Tobirama. But after his teaching and guidance from his friends, Jin has roughly returned to his original state. It's just that his style of doing things has become a little more fierce. Before coming to the office, he received information from the Yambu that the Uchiha clan was going to hold a clan meeting today and hoped that Jin could participate. They even threatened him. It can be imagined how important this meeting is today. Unexpectedly, Jin, who has always been calm and rational, broke the man's legs without saying a word and told them that he was not interested in the radical meeting. Even Jin has become like this, and it is understandable that Obito, who has no teacher and companions to accompany and persuade him, has become a madman who wants to destroy the world. Of course, understanding is understanding, and Tobirama does not agree with what the other party has done. Since they have already released the 9 Tails to Konoha, it would be strange if he could agree. Obito is such a pitiful person. He witnessed the death of the girl he likes in front of him, and the person who attacked him was his close friend from the same team. Sarutobi Hiruzen also sighed. With such an operation, let alone Uchiha, even he would probably fall into darkness and become a madman who only knows how to destroy. If Obito has a brain, I don't believe he won't notice it. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought about it and felt that Tobirama teacher was right. That's right, after all, the arrangement of this matter is too coincidental and obvious. Anyone with a normal IQ can notice that something is wrong. Is Obito a person with a normal IQ? In the official book, the value of Uchiha, which represents IQ, is 2 for Obito. In comparison, Shikamaru as a child is 10, and Naruto as a child is 3. Even worse than Naruto, Obito's IQ is indeed worrying. But even so, Obito understood many years after the incident and knew that the accident was deliberately designed by Madara in order to awaken his Mangekyou and help Madara implement the Moon Eye plan. But by the time, Obito was obsessed with creating a world with Rin, and he didn't care about conspiracies. Even if he knew that the Samsara Eye could revive Rin, he didn't let Nagato revive Rin. Because he felt that this disgusting world didn't deserve Rin. Only a new world full of peace and hope could allow Rin to be truly reborn. In order to achieve this goal, he lied to Nagato, Konan, and the entire Akatsuki organization. Unfortunately, all this was just a scam by Black Kid who wanted to save his mother. Of course, Tobirama and the others didn't know these things. At this time, Tobirama was still thinking about using cloning technology to clone a body of Rin, and then revive Rin and let her persuade Obito to come back. It would be a waste to give such a useful thug to Madara. As for the fourth generation and the people who died in the Nine Tails Rebellion, it was no big deal. Wouldn't it be enough to revive them together? Anyway, the incident did not happen in his time and space. If there is any trouble, let Jiraiya of the fifth generation solve it. Jiraiya, don't come over here. Jiraiya of the fifth generation did not know that Tobirama was going to set a big trap for him. Now he and the third generation Hokage know through the light curtain why Obito has become so hostile to Konoha. It turns out that it is really because of Nohara Rin. I say, is Obito's brain not working well? I'm not saying that there is nothing wrong with being angry for the sake of the one you love, but Konoha also has the Uchiha clan who gave birth to him and raised him, as well as the Minato couple who also love him. When he released the Nine Tails, didn't he consider these? Jiraiya of the fifth generation did not quite understand Obito's train of thought. If this matter were put on him, he would definitely go to find the mastermind and fight desperately, instead of blaming Minato and Konoha village for not rescuing him in time. Don't tell me, Obito's brain may really not be working well. Thinking of the various actions of Obito in the ninja school, the third generation Hokage inexplicably had a sense of deja. He looked around, and when he saw Naruto, he suddenly realized where this sense of deja came from. Isn't this a replica of Naruto? Those who understand Naruto's brain will understand. Similarly, Obito's brain is probably not very good. Old man, did you tell Kakashi that Obito is still alive? I have been hesitating, not knowing whether to tell him. Looking at the third Hokage who was smoking normally, the fifth Jiraiya affirmed. You're right to hesitate. Obito has become like this, so why not tell Kakashi in a hurry? Let's consider this matter after we get more information. I understand. After the Third Ninja World War, Konoha signed a contract with Iwagaku village on the premise that Konoha made concessions. In order to be responsible for the Konoha ninjas who died in the war, and under pressure from the Konoha high-level officials, the third Hokage took the initiative to resign. However, Minato relied on his outstanding performance and strong strength in the Third Ninja World War. After obtaining the unanimous consent of the Fire Country Daimyo, he successfully became the fourth Hokage of the Fire Country Konoha Ninja Village. Minato, who was promoted and made a fortune, reached the pinnacle of his life, and at the same time, he did not forget to help his subordinate Kakashi. In the following time, Minato worked day and night, and finally became a father. Kushina was pregnant. Although Minato was busy as a Hokage, he still had a hobby of reading in his spare time. So the child's name was taken from the name of the protagonist in Jiraiya's book, that is, the protagonist of this play, Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto. At this moment, everyone in the office looked at Naruto who was confused. Are you kidding? My father is actually the fourth generation Hokage. Oh. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 72 5th Generation Jiraiya. Obito, you were a beast. At this time, Uzumaki Naruto was already in tears. He didn't want to believe, nor did he dare to believe that his father was the fourth generation Hokage of the village. If his father was the fourth generation Hokage, then why were there no children playing with him? Why was he driven away by the store owner when he wanted to buy a mask? He couldn't cook, so he could only eat instant noodles frequently. Even when the milk was about to expire, no one came to remind him. If the fourth generation Hokage was really his father, then why was he treated like this in the first place? At this moment, Naruto's heart sank to the bottom and he came to the place where the Nine Tails was imprisoned. Little boy, tear off this seal, and let's make a big fuss together. The Nine-Tails had never been so excited. When he saw the magical light curtain inside Naruto's body, it thought it would never have a chance to break free from the cage in this life. As a result, the light curtain gave him a big gift, revealing the fact that Namikaze Minato was Naruto's father. This gave him a loophole. As long as Naruto tears off the talisman paper pasted on the sealed door, it will be able to break through the cage, and from then on, the sky is high and the birds fly freely, and the sea is wide and the fish jump freely. What, you said that the 5th generation Jiraiya, the 3rd generation Hokage and Orochimaru are standing next to Naruto? It's not that the Nine-Tails looks down on them. In the entire ninja world, except for Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama in the past, it looks down on everyone. Yes, that's right, as long as you tear off this piece of paper, we can join forces to kill these hypocritical guys. The Nine-Tails tempted Naruto while corroding Naruto's heart with chakra. When Naruto was about to touch the talisman paper, in reality, the 5th generation Jiraiya and others finally realized that Naruto's state was not right. Oh no, the Nine-Tailed seal is weakening. Jiraiya, you have to think of something quickly. Looking at Naruto, whose air pressure was getting lower and lower and whose face was getting worse and worse. The 5th generation Jiraiya made a prompt decision and used the 4 symbols seal on him. In that tuning exam, Orochimaru used the 5 elements seal on him in order to block Naruto's Nine-Tailed chakra. After Jiraiya returned to the village and formally accepted Naruto was his apprentice, in order to allow him to better utilize the Nine-Tailed chakra, Jiraiya also unsealed his 5 elements seal. At this time, the 5th generation Jiraiya did not use the 5 elements seal but the 4 symbols seal, also considering that Naruto would need to use this power in the future. In addition, Naruto already had 2 layers of the 4 symbols seal, which was also the 8 diagrams seal, laid for him by Kushina. The 5th generation Jiraiya is only reinforcing it now, and it will not harm Naruto's body. Just after the 5th generation Jiraiya successfully reinforced the 4 symbols seal, Naruto's consciousness, which was still immersed in the Nine-Tailed cage, was immediately pulled out. Seeing Naruto's consciousness being pulled away, the Nine-Tailed fell into impotent rage. Damn it, it's just that little bit. Damn Jiraiya. Damn 3rd generation Hokage. Don't let me find a chance to get out. Once I get out, I will definitely make Konoha village bleed. Jiraiya and the others could not hear the Nine-Tails roar. Seeing Naruto who had already fallen into a coma, Jiraiya created a shadow clone and said, I'll send him back first. Well, let him have a good rest. Jiraiya's shadow clone carried Naruto away, and Sasuke couldn't calm down for a long time. Like Naruto, he had many questions. The biggest one was, since the 4th Hokage was Naruto's father, why did the village treat him like this? Seeing the nervous look of the 3rd and 5th Hokage just now, could it be because of the monster in Naruto's stomach? So, what kind of monster could make the son of a hero become a being that everyone wanted to kill? Nine-Tailed Fox. Is that the name of that monster? The more Sasuke thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. He subconsciously looked at Orochimaru, wanting to get an answer from this cheap teacher. Don't be impatient, Sasuke-kun, use your eyes to see and think, and one day you'll find the answer. Orochimaru was still the same, not telling Sasuke the answer directly, but letting him think for himself. Sasuke could accept this. He was very confident in himself. If Orochimaru didn't tell him, he would find the answer himself. After Naruto left, the 3rd Hokage said to the 5th Jiraiya, Jiraiya, do you think it is possible that Naruto is the child of destiny you are looking for? How can it be possible? The 5th Jiraiya was about to refute when he heard this, but suddenly felt that it was not impossible. After all, it was said on the light screen that Naruto was the protagonist to this play. And the Great Toad Sage also said that he would become the master of the Child of Destiny. Coincidentally, Naruto is also his disciple. Think about it carefully. Patting Jiraiya's shoulder, the 3rd Hokage took a puff of cigarette and continued to look at the light screen. After Kushina became pregnant, Minato took this opportunity to arrange Kakashi to protect his wife. After Kakashi learned that Minato, who valued him, had a child, he changed his usual gloomy and went to the cemetery to sweep the graves and remember his teammates, and told this happy event when no one was around. Unexpectedly, the masked man whose real identity was Obito overheard it. 3rd Hokage. I said Kushina's due date was a top secret. It turned out that it was Kakashi who leaked the secret. My dear late bioback, Tobirama. Well, it seems that this guy's IQ is really problematic. Hiruzen. Yes, he didn't notice anything wrong for so many years. Kagami. Obito really lowered the IQ of the Uchiha family. So far, Obito has stood on the opposite side of Kushina, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. A few months later, on the day Naruto was born, Minato cried with joy. It also means that this is the day when Kushina is the weakest as the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Obito, who is targeting the Nine-Tails, uses Kamui to pass through the barrier set up by Konoha, and is ready to attack. Obito easily dealt with all the people present except Minato, including the Third Hokage's wife, by Waiko. He kidnapped Naruto to threaten Minato, and shouted, "You, Nijiza, leave the Jinchuriki as soon as possible, otherwise I will scatter Naruto and deton his ashes in 1 minute." At the same time, the seal of the Nine-Tails on Kushina was not completed and was not stable. Obito then abandoned little Naruto and used the trick of luring the tiger away from the mountain. Minato had no choice but to hug Naruto, but Obito pasted several detonating talismans on his body. At this time, Minato had an idea and took off his clothes to detonate the explosion, but it was difficult for him to take care of his wife Kushina for a while. Obito took the opportunity to kidnap Kushina and opened the seal to release the Nine-Tails. This bastard, he is really a beast. How dare he treat Kushina like this? She is his master's wife. The fifth Jiraiya was also very angry. If Obito stood in front of him now, he would definitely let this bastard taste the iron fist of justice. 05205 Chapter 73 Obito's Kamui. After the Nine-Tails was released, Obito gave it a pair of Sharingan-style beautiful contact lenses as soon as it landed, controlling its every move. Kushina, because of the powerful vitality of the Uzumaki clan, did not die immediately after the tailed beast was extracted. Obito saw that Kushina was not dead, and turned around to arrange for the Nine-Tails to take action. Fortunately, Kushina had the Flying Thunder God technique left by Minato. When the Nine-Tails suddenly attacked and hurt people, Minato saved Kushina in a princess hug. At this moment, Obito's heart was broken. Obito. Good, you didn't come when I was crushed by the rocks, and you didn't come when Rin was killed by Kakashi. You came immediately after my wife was in danger. Double standards, right? Minato didn't have time to pay attention to the angry Obito. He gently comforted his wife in his arms and told Naruto that he was in a good situation, and then burst out a murderous aura towards the Nine-Tails. Then Minato used the Flying Thunder God technique to evacuate and carried Kushina to Naruto. Minato looked at his exhausted wife and newborn child, with a look of reluctance in his eyes. But the birth of the Nine-Tails will surely endanger the entire Konoha. Minato, who was carrying the Hokage position on his shoulders, put on the Hokage's battle robe in order to prevent his wife and children from suffering such hardships and to protect the village from the enemy. Minato. Wait a minute, I'll be back soon. I have to say, the fourth Hokage is really handsome. The 20-something Uchiha Madara looked at Minato on the screen, her eyes were already heart-shaped, and she was almost drooling. Madara, be reserved, Namikaze Minato is probably not even born yet. Madara's attitude made Tomoyan a little jealous. He and Madara were childhood sweethearts, and although neither of them had any thoughts in that regard, he was still very unhappy with Madara's infatuation. Especially when the infatuation object was not him. I know, but that doesn't stop me from appreciating his heroic figure in the light curtain. Yan sighed and simply stopped talking. I remember that the fourth Hokage died in the Nine-Tails Rebellion, right? Yes, teacher. Tobirama nodded and continued, judging from the strength shown by the fourth Hokage, it might be a bit difficult for Obito and the Nine-Tails to kill him. In Tobirama's opinion, how could Minato Namikaze, who could use the Flying Thunder God technique to perfection, be killed by Obito and the Nine-Tails? If you can't beat him, can't you just run? At the time, the third Hokage should still be at the end of his peak strength, right? Can't the combined strength of the two generations of Hokage deal with the Nine-Tails? By the way, is the Nine-Tails so difficult to deal with? Thinking of his elder brother, Tobirama Senju, who captured the tailed beast so easily, and then gathered the power of the entire village on the light curtain but still failed to save the Hokage, Tobirama Senju felt very torn. It was as if, after the first war, the strength of each village had been severely weakened. The strength of the Hokage is not good, the strength of the clan leaders is not good, and the strength of the village as a whole is very weak. Sarutobi Hiruzen also thought of this. He didn't know what to say, so he could only reply, "There's nothing we can do. Who told us that we are all characters in literary works? The author wants to set it up like this, and you can't do anything about it, right? Hiruzen. Teacher, you say." Tobirama looked at Hiruzen steadily and said, "You're right, don't say it again next time." Hiruzen. An autumn in Konoha, the wind is so lingering. The peaceful night is full of fireworks rendered by the daily leisure of the villagers of Konoha, and there are many intimacy in the beauty. But the combination of the Nine Tails and the masked man makes Konoha at this moment the calm before the storm. Obito led the Nine Tails to destroy the village wantonly, causing heavy casualties. Minato teleported to the Hokage rock to attract the Nine Tails. However, the red-skinned dog Nine Tails did not play by the rules, and the tailed beast ball came out as soon as he opened his mouth. Faced with such a terrifying wave, Minato used the space-time barrier to easily divert the attack and save the village. The ninjas of Konoha were relieved when they saw their eldest brother come online. But Obito was not idle either. In order to stop Minato from targeting the Nine Tails, he suddenly attacked from behind. As soon as they fought, Minato found that the enemy's body could be penetrated, so he used the Flying Thunder God technique to escape. Is this the Kamui mentioned before the light curtain? On the light curtain, Namikaze Minato officially fought with the masked man. Facing Minato's attack, the masked man had no defense at all and let the kunai pass through his body. Seeing this scene, Tobirama and Kagami simultaneously thought of Obito's main scheme Sharingan ability, Kamui. Obito's ability is a bit bad. The abilities of the main scheme Sharingan are different. For example, Kagami's ability is to protect his family, so he awakened the weakened version of Kowtow Matsukamai, Tamamo, and the fixed barrier that is used to protect people, Zashiki. But for a Kamui like Obito who is immune to all physical attacks, it is really outrageous. I don't believe that Obito's Kamui is invincible. It must have weaknesses that we don't know about. Tobirama believes that any technique has corresponding weaknesses. The Kamui is so invincible at present, it must be that they have not found the corresponding weakness yet. In addition, Obito currently only has one main scheme Sharingan, and he can't use the full power of the Sharingan at all. I want to see how the fourth Hokage deals with Obito now. I don't believe that a mere Obito can kill the fourth Hokage. So the ability of Obito's Sharingan is to turn into a hollow. Yes, it's a very tricky ability. The fifth Hokage Jiraiya and the third Hokage were very troubled. Faced with such an opponent who is immune to all physical attacks, they didn't know what to do for a moment. Old man, Minato should have won against Obito at the time, right? The third Hokage nodded and replied. Although I didn't see the specific battle, Minato didn't die at the hands of Obito. The fifth Jiraiya smiled, looked at Minato on the light curtain, and whispered, "You are worthy at being my disciple of the Toad Sage, the teacher is proud of you." After escaping for a while, the two began to fight head-on. Before the fight, Minato suspected that the masked man might be Uchiha Madara, who fought against the first Hokage. Even if he is not a small figure. Hehe, the fourth Hokage guessed wrong. Madara will not do these petty thefts, he will only fight you head-on. Hearing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen whispered to Tobirama, "Teacher, have you forgotten that Madara sent White Zetsu to possess you?" "Okay, I take back what I said, Madara will still do some tricks." Chapter 74 Danzo. Obito used the Philippine Iron Chain Binding Massage attack, and Minato responded with a large kunai acupuncture. Because both sides can use time and space ninjutsu, they fought back and forth. After a brief fight, Minato analyzed the weaknesses of his opponent's ninjutsu and formulated a strategy to defeat the enemy. "Teacher, what is the weakness of Kamui?" On the side, hearing that Minato already knew the weakness of Kamui, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help but ask Tobirama. After a period of thinking, Tobirama gradually had a guess. However, he did not tell Hiruzen, but said to him, "You are so old, you should think more about everything, don't always rely on me. Minato is about the same age as you, why can he see the weakness of Kamui, but you can't?" Sarutobi Hiruzen felt speechless after hearing this. How can it be the same? Minato is the person involved, and we are just the audience watching the video. Minato must know more about some details that the camera can't take care of them us. If I were to face Obito head-on, maybe I could also detect his weaknesses. Hehe Hiruzen, your face is getting thicker and thicker. Danzo sneered on the side. Since he and Hiruzen had a falling out, this was the first time he took the initiative to speak. Minato is the Hokage, what are you? What qualifications do you have to be compared with Minato? Hiruzen was very annoyed. He didn't expect that Danzo would be fine if he didn't speak, but he would be so unpleasant when he spoke. I will be the third Hokage in the future, unlike some people who can only be roots in the dark for their whole lives. Hiruzen was not easy to deal with, and his words also touched Danzo's sore spot. He thought Danzo would be furious, but he just sneered and replied, "With the intervention of the light curtain, it is still uncertain who the third Hokage will be. After that, Danzo deliberately glanced at Tobirama, and seeing that the teacher was not angry, he said to Hiruzen, "The teacher is still in his prime, and it is normal for him to live to the birth of Minato. I believe that after the teacher's teaching, Minato will definitely be better than he was before." Originally, Tobirama didn't want to care about the affairs of Danzo and Hiruzen. But Danzo dragged him in, so he couldn't just sit back and watch. Moreover, Danzo's words were indeed a bit weird. To put it bluntly, he was trying to sow discord. Of course, Tobirama also wanted to know how Hiruzen would behave when he knew that the position of Hokage might not be his. Would he just give up or work harder? He was looking forward to it. "Danzo, be quiet. It's important to look at the light curtain." Danzo glanced at Hiruzen, who was beginning to feel a little anxious, smiled complacently, and said, "Yes, teacher." "Old man, have you thought of the weakness of Kamui?" "No, have you thought of it?" The fifth generation Jiraiya smiled proudly and said, "Of course, it's actually very simple. I'd like to hear about it in detail." "Look, old man, although Obito's Kamui has the ability to become hollow, making all physical attacks on him ineffective, but things are relative. Obito can't always not attack, right? As long as he attacks, he will definitely exit the hollow state and become a physical entity. Otherwise, how can he touch others? In the hollow state, he will pass through the body when he touches others." After taking a puff of cigarette, the third generation Hokage nodded and said, "I'm really old. I didn't think of such a simple thing. Ha ha ha, so old man, you should have retired and enjoyed a peaceful life long ago. If someone hadn't been wandering outside the village all the time, I guess I would have retired long ago." The fifth generation Jiraiya smiled awkwardly. "Let's not talk about the past. Look at the light curtain, look at the light curtain. Wow, Minato's move is really cool." The third Hokage looked at him with disdain and stopped talking. Minato, who analyzed Obito's weakness, looked reckless on the surface, but his posture was very elegant. He started with a kunai as a feint, forcing Obito to hollow out. When Obito saw the kunai piercing his little head, he was a little proud. He suddenly had the illusion that he could kill Minato alone. Minato saw the kunai piercing the masked man's little head, and he calmed down a little. He rolled the ball in a second, changed the kunai acupuncture just now, and directly performed a Rasengan massage, hammering the masked man into the ground, and left the Flying Thunder God technique on the injured part. Minato's whole set of procedures is called the Flying Thunder God Second Stage plus Rasengan combination, and this combination skill is widely praised. Flying Thunder God Stage 2. Rasengan. Really interesting. As the creator of the Flying Thunder God technique, Tobirama thought that Minato's use of Flying Thunder God was on par with his. But after seeing Flying Thunder God Stage 2, he realized that Minato's use of Flying Thunder God had already surpassed him. After all, he couldn't use the Flying Thunder God Stage 2. If he wanted to use it as skillfully as Minato, he would probably need to spend a lot of time to study. Now is the critical period for cloning technology. If he wants to study Flying Thunder God Stage 2, he can only wait until he has mastered the cloning technology. I don't know if the old monkey has any information about Flying Thunder God Stage 2. Well, ask after the video is over. Ha, sure enough, my analysis is correct. A Rasengan hit Obito hard. Minato's operation also proved that the 5th generation Jiraiya's idea was correct. Even Sasuke, who didn't have a good impression of Jiraiya, refreshed his opinion at this time. He thought that the 5th generation Jiraiya was sometimes quite reliable. Obito was so happy after taking this set of attacks that his left hand was gone. Then Minato used Flying Thunder God to touch Obito and used the contract seal to release Obito's control over the Nine Tails. After being injured, Obito left a harsh message and escaped using Kamui. At this time, the Nine Tails was still attacking Konoha, and only the Sandmi could handle it. The rest of the ninjas just threw a few detonating talismans, and Kakashi didn't see any of the cockroaches of his generation. It's a pity that the Sandmi didn't hold out for long before he had kidney deficiency. I don't know who is playing who between him and the Nine Tails, who is in his prime. Old man, why are you looking at me? I had a stomachache that day and my legs are weak. Is that okay? Okay. The 5th generation Jiraiya shook his head and didn't ask any more questions. Chasing this question will only make both parties embarrassed. Anyway, whether it is true or not, only the 3rd generation Hokage knows. Why didn't we see any ninjas from the Uchiha clan? The Uchiha clan hadn't been exterminated at the time, had they? Tobirama didn't dwell on the matter of the 3rd Hokage. He just couldn't understand why the Uchiha ninjas didn't come out. With a huge mainstream Sharingan like the Nine Tails, did he really think that others couldn't see it? The Uchiha clan must know that only by taking action on their side can they clear their suspicion. Hiruzen, who had readjusted his mindset, frowned and continued, unless they were stopped by something or someone. Stopped? Hearing this, the people in the office felt that what Hiruzen said made sense. So what or who stopped the Uchiha clan? As they thought about it, everyone turned their attention to Shinjiro Danzo, who was stroking his chin with an inexplicable smile on his face. Danzo. No way, can you blame me for this? Chapter 75 Danzo. He slandered me. Danzo, do you think it is possible that you stopped the organization of support for Uchiha Sarutobi? Hiruzen looked gloating. Not only him, but everyone present looked at Danzo with a strange look. After watching the video of Danzo's inventory, everyone also had a certain understanding of him decades later. Not to mention, Danzo can really do it to stop Uchiha from supporting. Hiruzen, shut up. Danzo glared at Hiruzen fiercely, turned around and complained to Tobirama. Teacher, he slandered me. Sarutobi. Hiruzen, he slandered me. Looking at Danzo's excited face, Tobirama suddenly felt funny. Danzo, you don't need to be so excited. Even if it was really you who did it, it was you decades later, and it has nothing to do with you now. Tobirama was right. Anyway, it was him decades later who did it, not him now, so why was he so excited? Unexpectedly, after hearing Tobirama's persuasion, Danzo not only did not calm down, but became more excited. That's impossible. Everyone in the village knows that I, Shinjiro Danzo, am an outstanding and promising young man. Let alone secretly holding the village back, I wouldn't do something as immoral as throwing garbage everywhere. Everyone was speechless by Danzo's words. Just you? An outstanding young man? What are you looking at? In the past 2 months, I have helped many orphans and disabled people with both money and effort. What's wrong with being called an outstanding young man? Danzo, you are really cruel. Not only to your enemies, but also to yourself. Kamai, what do you mean by that? Danzo was very dissatisfied with what Kamai said. What do you mean by being cruel to yourself? Am I, Danzo, born evil and unworthy of doing good things? To become the third Hokage, he even changed his own nature. Isn't that cruel enough? Who wants to be the third Hokage? Hiruzen, you not only slandered me, but also defamed me. TSK, who among you doesn't know that you want to be the Hokage? You almost wrote the 5 words I want to be the Hokage on your face. Hiruzen's words caused the people present to laugh. They didn't know what Danzo was thinking. But they didn't know that in order to become the Hokage, Danzo actually went to do good deeds. This was simply too strange. You guys. Seeing Danzo's embarrassed look, Tobirama felt that it was about time, so he said, okay, stop joking around, and continue to look at the light screen. Yes, teacher. After the Nine Tails lost control of its beautiful pupils, it became more and more rampant, and it blew another mouthful of tailed beast ball. Fortunately, this tailed beast ball was suppressed by Minato, who appeared in time with a toad, and then the Nine Tails was taken away from Konoha with the Flying Thunder God technique. At the same time, he also brought Kushina and Naruto to the scene. Kushina used all her remaining strength to use the diamond seal to bind the Nine Tails, and temporarily suppressed the big red-skinned dog that did whatever it wanted. Minato believed that the masked man would definitely bring blood and rain to the ninja world in the future. Combined with the prophecy that Jiraiya had said, Minato directly placed his bet on Naruto and decided to let Naruto become the Nine Tails Jinchuriki. He first used the Shiki fusion to cut the Nine Tails into a yin-yang man, fox, with one knife, and the yin half belonged to Minato. At this time, the Nine Tails didn't know why it was taking advantage. It aimed at Naruto and attacked, and it happened that because of the barrier opened by Minato, the Sandmi and his subordinates could not enter the barrier to help. So the couple Minato and Kushina died on their nails that had not been trimmed for many years. When Minato was about to die, he sealed the yang part of the Nine Tails with the 8 diagrams and sealed it into the body of the newly born Naruto. At the same time, he also sealed his and Kushina's remaining chakra into Naruto's body. After leaving their last words to Naruto, Minato and his wife both died. A great man died with his wife. Alas, if Danzo hadn't stopped the Uchiha clan, Minato might not have died, and the village would have had fewer deaths. The third Hokage sighed. He didn't mention Kushina because he knew that she would die after losing the Nine Tails. But Minato didn't have to die. If Minato didn't die, the subsequent Hyuga incident might not have happened, and the Uchiha clan might not have been exterminated. It can only be said that Danzo is worthy at being the king of pot. As long as something bad happens and there is no suitable suspect for a while, it is right to suspect Danzo. Minato's death is his own choice, and it has nothing to do with Uchiha. The 5th Hokage Jiraiya listened to the 3rd Hokage and shook his head. Through the picture on the light screen, he could see that the last Minato was actually no different from suicide. In addition to using the Shiki Fusion, he could also use other methods to seal the 9 tails. It was just the existence of Kushina that made him choose to die with his wife. Speaking of Danzo, old man, don't you have any news about him? No, the whole ninja world is looking for him now, but the bastard seems to have evaporated from the face of the earth, and there is no news at all. The 3rd Hokage was really disappointed with Danzo. If he didn't run away at the time, committed suicide or bravely went to die, the 3rd Hokage would still respect him as a man, saying that he was worthy at being the disciple of Mr. Tobirama and a Konoha man who dared to do and take responsibility. What happened? Not only did this guy run away, he also hid and didn't make a sound, like a turtle. The 3rd Hokage was really ashamed to be with him. Danzo's matter must be settled as soon as possible, even if it means increasing the bounty. Danzo knew a lot of things in the village. The day there was no news of his death, the village would be more dangerous. The bounty is already a lot. Ours, plus other villages and individuals, add up to almost 90 million beer. I don't think increasing the bounty will have any effect. There is no other way. Apart from sending ninjas to find Danzo's trace, the only way is to increase the bounty. After thinking for a while, the 5th generation Jiraiya continued, add another 10 million beer. After all, 100 million beer sounds more exciting than 90 million beer. The 3rd generation Hokage looked at the 5th generation Jiraiya deeply. You are the Hokage now, so I will listen to you. The 4th generation is a bit too emotional. Seeing the ending of Minato and Kushina dying together, Tobirama shook his head unhappily. What the 5th generation Jiraiya could see, he could see naturally. He could obviously survive and continue to lead Konoha forward, but he died for his wife Kokai. This made Tobirama, who was willing to give everything for the village, very dissatisfied. In public, he was the Hokage of Konoha. In private, he still had a son alive. Besides, Senju Tobirama hasn't even gotten married yet. My goodness, Minato and his wife are showing off their love with their lives. Tobirama. Come on, someone is openly abusing dogs here, come and take care of it. 9 tails. Okay, watch me. Minato, Kushina, dead. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.